I like the wet, soft mozzarella.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Utah Outcasts for the 30th of August 2015. This is Podhell Media's flagship podcast, so when you get a second, come find us at podhell.com. And while there, leave us a comment on the show post or use the contact page on the site to let us know what's up. But, if that's not your thing, feel free to send us an email via uo@podhell.com. And you can always reach us via text or voicemail at 347-669-3377. That's 347-NOW-DERP if you need words. We know that most of you will choose the indirect way by using Facebook or Twitter, so you can hit us there at facebook.com/Utah Outcasts or at Utah Outcasts on Twitter. And after looking at all the stats, I can see that a huge percentage of our listeners, and we do love you, by the way, are coming from iTunes. So if you get a minute, please leave us a rating and or comment so more people can share the show with others. And I did want to give a quick shout out to the furthest distance listener we have, hailing all the way from Turkey.
Wow.
Who actually is originally from Moab. Anthony Charles, thanks for listening. And I promised him we'll have him on the show in the next coming weeks or so. We do have a full slate of guests coming up for pretty much the rest of the year. So we'll see about getting other people in there if other people cancel. It's really good to be a podcast these days. Anyway, let's get to the panel for the week. First up is one of the two co-hosts of this year's fine show, fresh with his new studio mic, movie critic and starfucker Kyle Steenblick.
Hello.
And second up, we have the only co-host on the show that has a double X chromosome, a fine purveyor of cheese, and a member of the Board of Atheists of Utah, Felicia Entwistle.
Yeah, I do those things. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And third up is our special guest, and I wrote this one out, so it's really long, Dan. You're going to have to listen here. Our special guest, the regional director for Utah for American Atheists, and one of the co-hosts of the amazingly wonderful Godless Rebelution podcast, along with his two other hosts, the epically bearded ginger devourer of souls for the glory of Cthulhu, Dan motherfucking Ellis.
How you doing, everybody?
Dan, before I met you, I thought you were so cool that I was actually nervous to meet you. Yeah, that's right.
I am not that cool by any means whatsoever.
And then there's me, your host, X. Hi, guys.
Oh yeah, that guy.
So, what's everybody been up to for the week? Anybody do anything fun? Anything fun happening?
Oh, I did some fun stuff.
Interesting? Oh, I heard about yours. Let's get to Kyle's. He has probably the best story out of everybody.
Okay.
Okay, so actress and musician Alicia Witt is in town filming a movie, and she did an impromptu, I guess technically impromptu. It was scheduled, but we'll call it impromptu concert at Piper Down on Friday. So the Thursday before the concert, I had a chance to have a nice 20-30 minute phone interview with her, and then caught up with her after the concert on Friday. She's a really cool person, in case you're wondering.
And for those that might be wondering who she is, she was Dewey Crow's attorney cousin on Justified, on season 4, I think.
Attorney cousin's sister. Yeah, she's really cute. She's really cute, and I really liked her in that role.
For some of you older folks out there, Dan might love this reference. She was Alia the Knife on the 1980s version of Dune.
Woohoo!
You remember Paul Atreides' little creepy little sister?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my brother's coming for you, Baron.
And you will be happy to know, Chris, I did ask her about her Gom Jabbar.
Yeah.
And she was actually really happy that you brought that up. Because she did get to keep it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and she had forgotten about it. And her parents have it.
That's super fucking
nerdy.
I feel honored.
She completely forgot about it, and she says, thank you very much for reminding her, because now she's going to call her parents and ask them to send it to her.
Yes, the influence spreads.
But yeah, if you want to know more, you can check out the interview, which I actually just got uploaded and posted to Watch Play Read. And that was actually just went up about an hour ago.
Oh, and to give you guys a little bit of a heads up that are listening to this, if you're not in an area that can do podcasting, like I work in a work environment where internet is limited, to say. but they somehow allow YouTube still. I have started rendering and uploading the episodes to our very own YouTube channel. You can find us, just search for Utah Outcasts, and you should find us out there. We only have the one episode last week's uploaded so far. But you're not going to get any flashy video or anything until I make sure everybody's got decent cameras and good angles, because you guys don't want to see the basement behind me. It's terrible.
Or until we make good friends with an animator.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
I'll do the show topless. I mean, you won't see anything. That's a promise. In fact, I'm doing it topless now. Just believe me.
Wait, aren't we all?
I know. I got the memo.
We're all skeptics. I thought we needed evidence of such things.
The amount of evidence required is completely proportionate to the claim being made.
So let's see. Coming up for everybody here in Utah that's listening to this, we aren't specifically Utah. We are the Utah Outcasts, but we get a lot of people listening from other places. We do have some Atheists of Utah events coming up. Namely, we have the Hello Sweetie open mic night benefiting Forrest Shaw from the Left Show on September 12th. And let's see, what else do we have? We have the end of summer potluck the day after on the 13th at 5 p.m.
And that's at Sunnyside Park, and that's we're doing that with the Humanists of Utah as well. So that's Atheists of Utah and Humanists doing an end of summer potluck.
Now, there seems to be a lot of conflation nowadays where people think that if you're an atheist, you need to be a humanist.
Right.
Well, you don't need to.
You don't need to be.
You certainly can.
They're pretty. It's hard to not be at a certain point, but yeah, you don't have to.
I hate humanity.
I once heard an atheist on a podcast say that the kindest thing would be for everyone on the planet to be dead, because then there'd be no more suffering. So,
I heard that guy.
Yeah, so I'm going to assume not a humanist.
He was a nihilist. He's like,
yeah,
let's just go ahead and kill all of humanity.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was on...
that was on Dogma Debate, wasn't it?
No, it was
Atheist Experience.
Yeah. It was when Russell was talking to the guy, and he's like, nuclear holocaust might be actually a better option.
And I think it was Russell and Tracy, and they were both like, what?
Mouth just open. Like, what the hell?
You could audibly hear their jaws hit the floor.
Yeah, they took a while to be able to say anything.
Well, he's not wrong, but...
Oh. A couple more events coming up, too. We got Restore Humanities doing their celebrity bartender. I think Dan knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah, it's a really good time. It's Jeff Bell is going to be the next celebrity, right? It's a lot of fun.
That's on September 15th. So there's the open mic night benefiting Forrest Shaw on the 12th. Then there's the end of summer potluck on the 13th. And then that Tuesday following the 15th is the brews with Bell, Jeff Bell.
Anybody know what the M stands for? Because he's JM. I'm guessing Michael. It would be funny if it was something like Michelle.
I was going to say Michelle.
Manly.
I'm calling him Jeff Michelle.
Well, it could be.
Jeff Michelle.
I'll ask him next time we're talking.
I always figured it was manly.
Since
start calling him Jeff Michelle.
But that voice, though, man.
Yeah. Oh, and then Provo Pride is on September 19th. So there is a shit ton going on that week.
Since it didn't come up, the open mic for Forrest.
Yeah.
Where is that?
My bad. I didn't have that pulled up, but I will tell you right now.
Is it? Let's see. September 12th. Is that on? Let me jump to the next month's schedule here. Oh, wouldn't be at Wise Guys because they'd be having a show on the 12th.
Come on.
Anyway, while she's going on here, I'm going to talk about a couple of guests that we have coming up. Next week, we have the honor of interviewing Mr. Kerry Jackson in his studio. And we will put that show up on Monday on Labor Day. We might actually push it a day later because of the holiday and because he's actually having us over to do the show on that day.
Yeah.
But we have him coming up. We have a few open spots, and then near the end of the month, we have one of Dan's friends here, Mr. Ryan Duffy.
That'll be
Ryan's
so
a
cool.
good dude. He's going to be so impressed that I was able to get the board fired up and running and have you guys actually hear me and me hear you without him here.
Aww.
If he leaves, like, what are you and Matt going to do for a show? Like cans and streams?
Something, man.
They're gonna
Yeah.
make fart noises at each other.
We'll just be pounding on the table, hoping that some sound is transmitted out to the world somehow.
Just reminds me of that scene in Airplane when the guy's doing the news by playing the 2 sticks on a log. Details at 11.
Oh, so the Hello Sweetie open mic, that is Saturday, September 12th at 5 at Sandy Station nightclub.
Ah, okay.
That's super close to me.
Oh God, do I want to do an open mic?
I don't.
Don't worry. I'm still going to drag you to an open mic one night.
I have the best closer, which I am never going to share with anybody here. You'll have to come see me live for it. And Kyle knows it because I've told him already.
Fuck you, I'm out.
No, it's actually a really long story about something from my childhood that is funny as hell but terrible at the same time.
Oh, sweet. I can't wait to hear it someday.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else do we have coming up? Oh, October. We're planning on doing a month full of theists that are actually going to throw themselves into the lion's den to be here on the show.
Pretty cool stuff.
I've only got 2 LDS guys so far. Go figure. We live in a state full of them, you know.
They don't want to talk about it to us. They get sick of us.
Where did you find these brave souls?
Well, Kyle works with one of them, and he does other podcasts, and so I'm sure he's coming here for a plug. I mean, why not? No, I'm just kidding. He's a good dude.
He is.
And the other guy that we're going to have on is a retired vet who we're planning on bringing back also for before Veterans Day to talk about some stuff. But he doesn't back down from any kind of argument. I've had theological arguments with him at work when we were doing grave shift for the longest time. But he's got a real interesting way of looking at things, but I can see that he needs a bit of a firm hand when it comes to beliefs. So he's willing to debate with us on things. And so it's probably going to be stripped down to brass tacks and into the realm of, well, it's what I believe because I feel something. It's like, okay, well, then I can't change that.
Yeah, anytime you get in any long conversation with somebody who's a theist, it always just boils down to faith. I mean, they have no other good explanation for believing what they believe. It all boils down to faith.
So
the spirit.
So what if when they get there, I want to say, yes, but you know that we can induce spiritual experiences with certain drugs or brain stimulation, right?
Yeah, and he would probably. I don't want to. Let's save it until he gets here in October.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use it. Go in there.
Well, he does listen to the show. So hi, Mario.
Start thinking. I want to hear it.
Hey Mario, look up the God helmet, Mario.
Yeah, look up the CES letter while you're at it too. I had that up one night when I was reading off bullet points of things that like, okay, well, how come this? How come that? How come this?
And also, thanks.
And boy, I've been waiting to talk.
We're very excited to speak with you.
I've been waiting to talk to him about the Seer Stone.
Oh. I just genuinely want to know what a Mormon thinks, because the Mormons that I know don't talk religion with me or don't talk to me anymore.
Like at all.
No. Yeah, I got some family who I really don't have any hard feelings against, so if they happen upon this podcast, I really don't feel bad, but they got really mad at me, so.
Well, let's see. What else do we have going on? We have a new show over here at Podhell. Go check it out. It's called Geek Dad Reports. 2 of our buddies from Watch Play Read that do a YouTube show that we convinced them to put it in audio form, and it seems like it's doing well for them. They've already got a bunch of subscribers, and I think the website's going to do better for it.
Nice.
Well, I don't know if we can really say we convinced them, more that we actually showed them how to do it.
Yeah, we browbeat them pretty much. Well, when it comes to podcasting, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there to show you, like, this is how you should do it. You should try it this way. But it really helps to have somebody that's actually made podcasts go, okay, look, really, this is how you do it. Let me show you the way.
Nope, don't. Just don't.
No, don't do that. No. Like, oh, God, why are you putting a 256 kbyte per second, like, audio file on the internet? It's going to sound like shit. Come on, man.
I understand all those things that you just said.
Nobody wants to download a 0.5 gigabyte fucking podcast.
That's true. That is true.
David Smalley, come on.
Well, that's just because his shows are like 6 hours long, right?
Holy shit, he had one a couple weeks ago that I think went on almost that long. I kept looking at it and I'm like, how long is this one?
Yeah.
Good God.
Should we really talk that much? Because we have had like 3-hour-long shows.
We have had.
Yeah.
I mean, they went longer only because, we cut out a lot of stuff that you guys didn't need to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.
Well, and I enjoy Dogma Debate even when it's those really, really long episodes. I mean, they always have good content on there, even when they're that long.
Yeah.
I'm mainly kidding about it because I really have no room to bitch because it's free.
It is free, and I don't know, I really appreciate having good information and really cool resources. And
media like ours we have to have at least 20 or 30 atheist shows like ours to counterbalance the giant fucking right-wing propaganda machine that we have out there right now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, because you don't see CNN approaching stuff like this. You don't see MSNBC getting near this kind of thing. I mean, all of them are just giant, big media conglomerations. So it really takes a grassroots effort of people wanting to spread a message out there like this. So,
and our message is really easy. Are you sure about that? I'm not.
So, as we're talking about this, let's go ahead and dive into our light news segment for the week. I do have a post here from Huffington Post the other day where they're finally starting to bring up stuff like this. So they brought up the folks from Openly Secular, and I'm glad that we're starting to get some press out there, especially since people are seeing the rate of nuns and the rate of non-believers skyrocket in the last 7 or 8 years since the last poll that they did.
It's so weird to me how many people are like, no, I don't believe in God, or they'll even go further than me. They're like, that's all bullshit. There is no God. They will go positive claim, and then I'll be like, so you're an atheist? No.
No.
I'm not an atheist. No.
No.
What?
No, because that's a bad word.
Yeah.
They have.
I keep calling my sister out on that. She's like, I just don't care, and I'm like, that makes you a perfect atheist. And she's
maybe an apatheist.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, but I still believe in ghosts, sorta. And I'm like, and?
So
you're just not a good skeptic, is what you're saying.
What?
So she's just not a good skeptic, is what you're saying.
She is mostly a good skeptic, and she doesn't believe most of the things about ghosts. I think that for her, it was like a project for a long time, and she kind of formed an identity around ghost hunting and stuff. And so it's really hard for her to let that go because that's still part of her identity.
Yeah, but Dan has a 27 bullet point version of why you should not believe in
Oh!
No, it's 13 because 13 is spooky.
13. Oh, that's right.
No, I don't believe in ghosts, and I have explained all these reasons to her, but she just comes down to, I just believe, okay? Drop it. But then
I have faith in ghosts.
Yeah, seriously, she so does. But I mean, she's very skeptical of the vast majority of things. But I had this conversation with her multiple times where I'm like, you don't believe in God. Yeah. She's like, but I don't say there isn't a God. And I go, it's me too. I'm like, you don't have an active belief. That makes you an atheist. I don't want a label. What?
That's how we know things, is by labeling them. Yeah. You don't say, I'm going to go into that general direction that slopes downwards inside my domicile to that area where there's all that electrical equipment thing where I'm going to do a activity that involves moving my mouth and tongue and pushing air through vocal cords. Oh, wait, that's using too many labels.
That's way too many labels, mouth.
That's like saying, I'm going to the basement to do a podcast. Yeah. We have to have labels for us to fucking shorthand everything.
Well, yeah, at a certain point, I'm like, but and she does. She's like, there's nothing wrong with being an atheist, and atheists are everywhere. And I'm like, so then why won't you say you're one? Because I don't care. But I mean, her perspective on it is just like so many people's. They will not call themselves an atheist. And they'll find out I'm an atheist, and they're like, cool. How do I get involved? But they won't actually call themselves one. It's kind of weird.
I don't know. I think people are just hung up on the stupid label, the baggage that came with that over such a long time. Only because it was foisted there by the Christian right
I
over
keep
years and years
saying
and years.
that the negative press is not our fault.
No.
But that word has been used so negatively, and people are like, oh, they're the angry ones. Yeah.
I would love to see the day when that is flipped on its head, and calling yourself a theist or a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim or any of those is viewed with the same kind of
Venom.
Yeah, well, not really venom, just that it's viewed as a pejorative.
As
You know, like they
it's
should be ashamed to say that they're Christians or that they're Muslims.
I'm a Christian.
Ugh.
We kind of get that way nowadays. I mean, most of us don't judge based off of like shorthand like that. But if someone comes up to me and is like, "I'm a Christian," and I'd be like, "No, that's okay. That's fine. I can hang out with you. We can be friends. We can have beers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just don't tell me how I'm going to hell, please."
I just kind of. I mean, no, I can still relate to people. I can still have friends. I do have friends that are atheists, but like for me, like it's just like David Foley.
Oh.
It's creepy. And I hear it and I'm like, ew. Ew.
I think it was Sam Harris describing the Catholics having their communion and, a few Latin words spoken over a cracker, and it transubstantiates into the body of Christ. But if you believe that about pancakes and the body of Elvis, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing that terribly, I know. So anyway, openly secular. It's just essentially a group that is, a bunch of people, agnostics, humanists, freethinkers, seculars, and we're all tired of the discrimination we experience in the U.S. because this is a very much Christian country.
Oh.
Not
officially.
Not officially, and we don't actually belong to the Christian community out there, but they have embedded themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have enjoyed the privilege far too fucking long. And so a lot of us are tired of it, and we're starting to speak up, and they're telling us to be quiet. And we're like, no, that's okay.
Yeah, I have a video out on the Openly Secular site.
Oh, good. So go check them out, openlysecular.org. We'll be talking more about this stuff in the main topic here in a little bit, but we're going to move on to a little bit of local news. That's why it's in the light news. How about Governor Herbert's 12-step program to improve Utah liquors agencies?
What?
First, you have to admit you have a liquor agency.
Then you have to have a higher power. So, thankfully the comedy isn't lost there, but a lot of us believe that a lot of the shit that we have in the state when it's concerning liquor can be solved with one step. Allow more stores to carry it.
Yep.
Why in the reddest of red states here in Utah is the government in the business of providing alcohol? Why don't they turn that over to a for-profit company? I mean, they're all about saying the government things except when that has to do with morality.
Well,
that's just
Jesus,
they don't actually.
It's all because Jesus Smith didn't like the booze.
But he did.
I didn't think he had a problem with it.
No, he drank it. I mean, he had alcohol even when he was in Carthage, just before he was shot.
Well, they used that for different reasons.
Well, yeah, that was.
And Jesus didn't really turn water into wine. It was really more of a grape juice.
It's a different time. You have to understand.
Well, people used to get married a lot younger back then. No, not that young, and not that recently. No, they didn't do that.
Way back in June, Herbert's staff began like a 90-day review of the DABC, and they had a consultant come in to do interviews with employees, and the report that came out of the governor's office addresses 12 things that they're going to improve upon. But from what I'm reading from other DABC employees, that he didn't listen to a single fucking thing that they said. Mm-hmm. He just pushed out this little bit of okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do this, and they're like, no, that's not what we wanted at all.
Herbert restricts freedoms and not listening to the people. I don't know what you're talking about.
That we're going to allow store personnel to assume an increased role with inventory management.
That's not what they wanted. They wanted better staffing and they didn't want an increased role. They wanted a decreased role or better pay.
Identify ways to meet demand and improve customer experience for restaurants and other vendors.
I believe they told you what exactly that was necessary for that. They told you exactly.
I'm pretty sure that entailed more stores, more staff.
We're gonna reduce
hours.
the product shortages and what is it?
Overages.
Overages. Yeah.
Huh?
What?
Yeah. Only way you can do that is if you know actually what people in your area of town want. But you're not listening to that. There's people at DABC that will actually say, you know what, we're the only thing around here. They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Talking to the customers.
Oh, the customer service is shit. I don't know if you've noticed, but the liquor store people don't give a fuck about you or doing a good job. They're just
because most of them are part-time and they get paid shit and they have no benefits.
Right.
I actually had a nice experience yesterday when I went.
Mm-hmm.
The lady was like talking to me and like treating me like a human being. Have a good day. And like, wow, I've never gotten that before.
That's nice.
Well, and they've cut back on management staff so that they have these basically floating managers where they go from store to store to store. They're never in store for very long at all. So when these people have questions or need help with anything, there's no management to turn to.
And these floating managers don't like the gig either.
They hate the DABC. They work for them, but they hate how it's ran. Just like every other business, every other government business.
Ugh.
So if they would just open it up to the stores or open the licensing and everything like that up to other companies being able to come in and do things like, being able to order, being able to hold on to inventory. If they had just a liquor board that still taxed everything that came in.
Yeah.
They'd still make their money.
Yeah, just privatize the shit. They can still tax it. They can tax the import of all of the alcohol that comes in. They can tax the sales of all of the alcohol that goes out. But privatize it. It doesn't need to be ran by the government.
I'm telling you right now, there are some private businesses that would love to fill this niche, would love to meet customers' service requirements. They would love to be able to order the right products. They would love to manage this inventory, and they would love that money, and they wouldn't give a shit about the taxes that needed to be on it.
Yeah, what's the one grocery store we had come in? Not the one affiliated with Felicia, but there's a Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
One that's not affiliated.
But they have a wine that you can get in every other Trader Joe's in the country called $2 Chuck.
Yeah.
And it
Charles Shaw, yeah. It's actually not bad.
It's not bad for a $2 wine.
Wouldn't it be like $5 Chuck here?
Yeah, but we're used to being bent over a barrel.
Yeah, that's another thing they would.
I don't give a shit.
Why don't they realize that if they actually cut down that percentage and made things a little, never mind, because it would be more affordable and then you could buy more.
And you'd have people buying more.
Yeah, but
next thing you know, you
buy more, you pay more in taxes. So
yeah, you'd have Amazon delivering bottles to your house next. God, imagine that.
I wouldn't even care if they got rid of the state stores. I don't mind the state stores because I've spent far too much time in other states that have the same basic setup.
Yeah.
That I don't mind having to go to a special store. It's not unusual for me. It's actually unusual if you find it in a grocery store. That's
how nice
the weird
it would
thing.
be to go into a nice walk-in fridge and get like a really high point beer and be able to drink it within getting home.
I just want them to sell wine at the grocery stores. Honestly, that would be a huge win for me.
That would be
well,
fantastic.
That goes great with your cheese department.
Yeah. There are certain places that I would love to be able to be like, and this wine.
That would be fantastic. But in other states, what you have is state-run stores, but these state-run stores are within a 30-second walk for most grocery stores.
Right.
They're not hard to find. They don't have odd hours.
But we're talking about our state. This is the same state that closed liquor stores in order to save money, even though they were profitable. In fact, they were the only profitable part of the government here in Utah. That's all. That was the only part that was actually profitable, and they were like, "No, we're saving money." That makes no sense.
And they were hugely profitable. They were raking in millions.
No, but they closed those to save money. That does not make any of the sense at all, ever. If it's making money, you don't close it. Everyone knows this.
Well, while we're talking about, not making sense, let's go into the Mormon Church.
Yeah.
How they decided to stick with the Boy Scouts of America. We'll touch on this quickly because it's not really that big of an issue.
No.
I mean, it doesn't really bother any of us. But I'm reading probably a little bit too much into it, but I think this is one of the first volleys into them finally allowing gay members to be, in good standing.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too. I think for the LDS Church it was more of a logistics issue, right? I mean, in order to have the same kind of infrastructure that the Boy Scouts of America has, they'd have to build all kinds of stuff. And then once they build all of that, everybody's going to go, "Oh, so you're not an Eagle Scout, you're a Seagull Scout?" Like, it won't carry as much weight. It'll be silly for them to do it.
Well, then
Copyright 2015 Dan Ellis.
There's the issue of the national influence that the Boy Scouts has. I mean, to a certain level, or the Mormon Church has in the Boy Scouts. There's a fair amount of power that they have in that, and outreach that they have with that. And I think that the idea of losing that scares them. And besides, they're still saying, well, any church-run troops won't have gay leaders. Like, they're still doing that. So
yeah, we can be just as bigoted as we ever were. So
yeah,
what does it matter?
We were giving him some serious shit because I can't remember what his name is. The guy that currently runs the Boy Scouts of America gave them that giant fucking out.
Robert Gates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Robert Gates. Yep, Bob Gates.
Well, didn't he kind of have to?
He kind of had to because he couldn't make a statement like that and then. I mean, it's his job for the organization to A, bring in as much business as he can, and B, try to keep as many people included as he possibly can.
Isn't the LDS Church one of the single biggest sponsors?
Not one of they are the largest.
They are the largest. Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So if they go, that's a huge hit to the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
2.6 million. Wait, no, I'm sorry. 430,000 of the BSA's 2.6 million belong to LDS Church-sponsored units.
It's like one of the only things that the LDS Church actually dominates.
Yeah, and I've seen some interesting opinions on this, and some that I've seen from some very strong members. They're a little upset that the church is still taking this big of a part in that organization, simply because of the way they approach it. They appoint and they assign leaders that don't necessarily want to have anything to do with Boy Scouts. They don't want to work with kids. They don't know anything about it. They have no experience, no background.
But it's their calling.
Yeah, they're just they're given this assignment, and they just have to go do it.
Yeah, well, and they're terrified. I mean, I read a couple critiques of the LDS Church's decision on this, where different LDS Church members are saying, "Oh, well, now I have to worry about sending my young impressionable child out to the Scout Jamboree where there may be gay people."
No, I can guarantee.
Newsflash, motherfucker!
There has been gay people. They've been there the whole time.
Your dad's probably gay, son.
No, he just likes that.
Go ahead.
Hey there, Jimmy. Jimmy, do you like watching men wrestle?
You remember in gym class when you had to climb the rope?
Did that ever make you feel funny?
No, he just really, really likes UFC.
I'm glad Dan picked up on it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the reference.
So, since we're talking about Mormons and Jesus and everything, how about the Mormon Jesus that appeared inside of a public middle school in Kansas?
Which is kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny that it's the Mormon one, and I bet you they didn't know that was the Mormon Jesus.
That's so funny that, like, only thing missing is, like, him standing in front of a Lamanite city.
Right.
Like, oh, well, if we would have known the whole portrait, or how about the one where Jesus signs the bill of the Declaration of Independence?
Oh, I love that guy.
I wish it would have been Space Jesus.
What's his name? Oh, he's a local artist. Keep going.
And he's absolutely fucking nutty.
Oh yeah, he's insane.
But this is I think the second time that they've smacked Kansas on the back of the hand for this, because the Supreme Court has stressed the importance of protecting public school students from these types of messages, as the superintendent said to the school, Richard Prophet. And they came along saying it's illegal for middle school or any other public school to post religious images in its hallways, as we all know already.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a similar painting that ended up in a middle school in Ohio a couple of years ago, but that one was moved to a local high school, which was also not okay.
We've taken it out of the lower grades and moved it up to the higher ones.
Well, I just don't understand that. It's a violation.
Yeah. Well, and that artist that Felicia was talking about is John McNaughton, or John McNaughty, as I call him.
Damn it, Dan! I was just gonna say that.
Somebody on Atheists of Utah actually went to school with him, I believe.
Oh, he's such a dipshit. My favorite one is the one where Obama is standing on the Constitution and the founding fathers are like, "The fuck, dude!" I love that.
I like where Obama's holding the burning Constitution.
And he's pointing at it. Like, you see what I've done here?
Look at this, motherfuckers.
I think on my personal page on Facebook, look up at facebook.com/Exopherismini.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my banner image right now is someone took one of the images like of Jesus holding the the Declaration of Independence, and except they changed it around to Cthulhu.
Yeah, they redid it. Instead of Jesus, it's Cthulhu, and there's blood everywhere.
You got Batman on your banner picture right now.
Oh, that's my.
Never mind.
Sorry.
Oh no.
I'm looking over the McNaughton one where Obama's standing on the Constitution, and all the good presidents, good quote, like Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Who is that? That's James Madison. There's George Washington. They're all looking at like this young, like mid-30s white guy who's like got a nice jacket, good shoes and jeans, and he's like, dude, and it's called like The Forgotten Man. He's like, the guy's just sitting there like, oh, things suck. And I'm like, so the one black guy in the picture, everyone hates, except for Bill Clinton, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Herbert Hoover are applauding Obama. This guy's such a jackass. My favorite is not my favorite. I love the one where there's a group of baddies in the picture, and one of them is like a liberal reporter and an unwed mother. I love it. And like he has like explanations for each little thing in his paintings. I'm like, dude, you really missed the point of art, didn't you? Interpretation from the viewers is not something you're into, is it?
Subjectivity is the key,
No, I want you to know exactly how
to interpret this.
Yeah, no, this has
you can't just look at it at a surface level. You have to use Inception and go deeper.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Since we're talking Mormons, they have finally made their first appointments of women to certain councils that used to be men only.
I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. We're going to move on. I just thought, hey, good for you doing something that, most other people normally do at jobs.
Here's some crumbs, ladies. Enjoy.
Yeah. You can fuck off now.
Like, okay, we've given you...
Here's some crumbs, make some cake.
We've given you this much, but you know what? Your husband still has to call you in the afterlife.
Oh, this is one of those things that it really sort of went over like a wet blanket with with people who actually care. Like with the ordained women group. Yeah, this kind of went over like a wet blanket. It was sort of thanks.
You're like, hey,
that's not
I'm
at
still
all
excommunicated.
That's not at all what we're talking about. Like we
Gee, thanks. Yeah, we'll pick up these crumbs and put it on our funeral potatoes. We really appreciate that.
We're gonna go ahead and be gracious and acknowledge the effort.
Were they a part of ordained women? The women who got it, like Rosemary?
I didn't read that much into the story, and I don't care enough.
I'm gonna bet that they were not.
No,
I'm gonna bet.
Oh no.
No,
because we're not going to give any.
Obedient.
We're not going to give it to them harpies over there.
No,
we're going to give it. We're going to give it to these good
in order to be rewarded, and you're not being obedient, ladies.
Yeah, no.
We're going to give it.
They were not even close.
They were their husband's hand puppets, just like they usually are.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the Mormons.
The Mormons.
We love you guys. Just kick it out. Just get out of the brainwashing, goddammit.
While we're talking about this, and
Yep.
I don't want to bring up any names. I don't, because I don't want to toss anybody under any proverbial buses. But a friend of mine was talking about a similar topic. And she's actually she's in the ordained women's movement. I think she's on the board. She was talking about some things that were happening in church. And she had specifically said that when they're talking about the priesthood, which is their big thing, they're talking to less than half the audience. And she said, you're sharing experiences and issues and challenges that are not available to me or my daughters. And we're not even allowed to mourn without fear of reprimand.
Jeez.
When you describe my only access to this as through my husband, you disrespect me as an individual and erase the experiences of women who are not married or are married to men who do not have the priesthood. And I do not think that should go unchallenged.
No, but it should, because this whole church is based on men having the power.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on control.
It is. And it is all about control. And especially the controlling the women. Because if you control the women, if you control their sexuality, boom, that's 51% of your population. And that's your baby makers. And that's your sex. Like, that's seriously, that is the only reason I can come up with for sexism at all, is about controlling women's sexuality, because they're really afraid they're not going to get laid, some of these guys.
I don't know. I can get by just fine without.
Yeah. See, there are...
Let me go braid the hairs on my palm. I'll be right back.
There are plenty of men who are not worried about it. There are plenty of men who don't give a shit. Like, they're like, yeah, I'm fine. I don't care if women do things. They're fine. Like, but there are a select few men who are either really greedy about it or really possessive about it. One sec, my cat's gonna kill another cat.
So, I want to bring it up since we're still in light news and stuff. Wes Craven passed away just like hours before we started the podcast, and I'll let you guys do your own moment of silence. I can't have moments of silence on a podcast because people would think we ended. But great director, great writer. Some of the best horror movies came from him, and some of the most terrible ones as well. But wait, didn't he do? No, that was John Carpenter. Ghost of Mars.
Yeah,
I was about to say that movie sucked. But I mean, he's had a varied career over his. I mean, he started out as being a porn director, which was interesting. He gave up his normal job to do that,
which is surprisingly close to horror.
Yeah, if you watched anything in the 80s, of course.
Anyway, some men are assholes, and I think that they wanted to control women's vaginas, and it's just a few, but they gained some power. That's all.
Since I brought up Mars, I do want to talk about how NASA has just sealed 6 people in a dome for a year.
Yeah, weird, right?
To get to see how well they do with the isolation for months on end.
Oh,
so there's an astrobiologist, a physicist, a pilot, an architect, a journalist, and a soil scientist. And they entered a 36 by 20 foot dome.
I couldn't even handle marriage.
So the news article I pulled this from said they'll remain in the dome for a year, eating powdered cheese, smelling each other's BO, and slowly abandoning any sense of personal space.
You know what? That was the powdered cheese one right off the bat where I was like, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
But it's for science.
You know what? Science can fight me. I want my cheese. God damn it.
I don't know. I would sacrifice a lot to be one of the first settlers on Mars.
Yeah, see, I actually would not. All for the human spirit and going forward, and I would be happy to donate money to it if it was an actual feasible project. I was really hoping Mars One was a good thing, but it wasn't. I'm happy to support it. I don't want to go. I really, really don't. I'd be one of those people who are like, yeah, you guys all go ahead and leave Earth. I'm going to be one of the 10 people that stays here. Like, I don't think I could handle it. I'd visit space. I don't want to leave here forever.
Give it a year when we are just that close to the election. I can almost guarantee you there are going to be at least 12 moments where you're done with the planet.
Oh, I want us to play this again in a year and see if I eat my words. That'd be fun.
Now, let's see. I think we have one more light news story we could squeeze in, and I wanted it to be the one about the professors at the University of Utah.
Some cool stuff.
So we had two professors, Clifford Roski and Lisa Diamond. They joined forces to write a paper that seeks to clarify both scientific and legal questions about the LGBT people since the Supreme Court's decision on marriage equality. The points that I wanted to make legally is that it doesn't matter whether you say you were born gay or whether you say you choose to be gay. Everyone is entitled to equal protection whether they are born that way or they choose to live that way.
Right.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which all of us agree it's a curb that's 2 inches high. Get the fuck over it, people.
Yeah.
You can hop that on your bicycle. You could even ollie that on a skateboard, I bet.
Yeah. I probably could, and I have like almost no skateboard skills.
And so another one of the quotes here from Diamond is that the reasons for which someone is gay should have nothing to do with whether they have legal rights. Ta-da!
Yeah. It doesn't matter which individual you choose as your partner. We all choose the individual. It doesn't matter.
But that's destroying humanity.
They're people, and it doesn't really matter what their bits are between their legs.
You can't put them on an island together and have them procreate more mankind. You put regular couples on that island, and I bet you some of them men and women will be fucking each other as well, but, they still have babies. I don't know. It's dumb. Dumb. So, the main thing they're bringing this up is because science has not found a quote-unquote gay gene yet.
Right. Probably because it's a myriad of factors.
Yeah, it's not going to be a specifically look for this one thing in someone's code to find out whether it is or not. It's probably multiple things.
And I mean, it's a bell curve, like we said. I mean, sexuality isn't so clear.
Yeah, it's not an on-off switch.
Yeah,
like genes.
You're not gay or straight. Most people, the vast majority of people, are not gay or straight. They're somewhere.
What
between.
is it? The Kinsey scale?
Yep, the Kinsey scale.
Go take your Kinsey test. It might surprise you. And I think that's about it. I just want to talk about Josh Duggar just for 1 second. Not Josh Duggar specifically, but their dad, Jim Bob, who has a word that he likes to utter to his kids when he feels like they need to avert their gaze.
From women. Avert their gaze. From women. Tempting, sinful women.
He'll go, boys, Nike. And they have to look at their shoes.
Right, because they're not human beings which to be looked upon. They're simply lust-causing objects. Right, lust-causing objects. Therefore, you do not acknowledge them like people.
Which is exactly what led that asshole into the pit that he's in right now.
Fuck those guys. Fuck the Quiverful movement. Fuck TLC for giving them a goddamn television show and a microphone. Just fuck all of it.
Well, if TLC hadn't, would we know that they were just as big assholes as we suspect?
Yeah, I mean, they would have gotten away with it a lot longer.
How many people have been convinced of the Quiverful movement, though? Like now, how many people have seen that and been like, they really are living the Christian lifestyle? Like now, they might not be thinking that, but I mean, they were on for years. How many people did they actually isolate? And I'm sorry, but
I'm sure they. Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. But if you were susceptible to that at all, you would have gotten there somehow eventually.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I kind of see where Kyle's coming from with that one. But you know what? That brings us to our first break of the show. We did have more news to talk about. Maybe we'll bring some up here in a little bit, but we do have a shit ton of heavy news to get into here in a minute. So,
shit.
With lots of video clips, especially from our buddy Pat Robertson, a couple of sound clips from everybody's favorite 2016 candidate, Ted Cruz. Yes, Cruz. And a really disturbing video by Glenn Beck. So just hang around. If you like to be depressed, we'll take you there here in a minute. We'll see you in a sec. And we're back. Thank you for that little break there. I went upstairs and I actually managed to find... I live in Clearfield. And when I go to the liquor store in Layton, we have one in Layton and one in Roy, which is about equidistant for me. And I've gone to the one in Layton only because it's really quick and easy for me to get there. I don't have to hop on freeways or anything. But their selection for beer has been kind of shitty. And you people living in Salt Lake don't realize how good you got it. But I went to the one in Roy, and they finally found a place that has Ninkasi beer. And I'm so happy to find it.
The one next to Dr. John's?
Yeah, actually, yeah. No, if you believe it or not, one of the best fucking Thai food restaurants that you can go to in this part of Utah, the northern part of Utah, is right next door to fucking Dr. John's over there by the old Hollywood Video in Roy. It's called 5 Star. They're not paying me for this at all. They probably don't even know we exist, but the best fucking Thai food I've ever had in the state.
Well, how could it not be? It's called 5 Star.
Right?
Believe it or not, I mean, there was a time when like they were owned by a different management and everything. It kind of sucked, but the original management came back. But seriously, like you can go there and ask for, yes, make this for me as if you were as if I was a Thai person.
Oh no!
Because
there's
I love my spicy.
There's another really good Thai place down there in Syracuse, where the Walmart is, in the little strip mall there.
Yeah, Thai Jasmine.
Yeah,
yep.
That place is pretty good too.
Well, we're plug-in some great exotic food restaurants. There's a fantastic place in Draper called Aroma. They do Indian food, and I know the family, Obi and Roma, and they're just the most fantastic people. And the Indian food there, I mean, they do cater to Utah sensibilities in a lot of ways, where it's quite mild. But if you ask for Indian food, and I actually can't go to their level. But they have very authentic Indian food, and it's just delicious. I mean, they're from India. They emigrated here. And
so what do you order when you go there?
I am working my way down the menu. I haven't had a bad dish yet.
Mm.
Yes.
My favorite is probably the chicken tikka masala and the saag. I'm a big fan of samosas.
Oh yeah, there's samosas and their tandoori stuff. It just like falls like apart. They're so great.
What was I going to say? I'm a huge proponent of people trying more ethnic foods. Get out of the getting the same shit that you get every week. Try a different restaurant, especially try fucking local.
Yeah, and don't go to all the fucking chains. Exactly. Go try something local.
I have a hard time even going to chain restaurants anymore. Like I really do. I maybe it's just because I work in fine food now, but it's not that. Yeah, I can't handle the chains. I just feel like the food is subpar. I don't feel like it's. I think it's playing to the lowest common denominator. What will offend no one, and if it offends no one, then it's not going to impress anyone. And I find myself not even wanting to eat at chains at all. I've been sticking to the local places.
Preach it, sister.
I find it just so amusing that like some of the best Japanese food I've ever had has been from Ogden, and some of the best Chinese food I've ever had has been from out here in Syracuse and Clearfield. You know, like, and I've been around the block a few times with like different restaurants and stuff. So
and there's some really fine restaurants out there now that are coming out. Utah's finally developing a fine foods marketplace. Like there's finally people eating at gourmet and artisan cuisine, and it makes me so happy inside. And I mean, and not all of them are nailing it. Not all of them are doing what I would consider really fantastic stuff, but they're trying and they're experimenting, and they're getting business, and I'm really excited about it.
Eating at restaurants that you can find outside of a Walmart.
Yeah. There's.
Hey, that Thai Jasmine place is right next to the Walmart. So.
But it's not in the Walmart.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
it's not the fucking McDonald's. God.
It is far too late in the day for you guys to be making me so hungry. So you just need to stop.
And
shut up! You posted that picture of you making curry that one time.
Drink more.
The one dish I cannot get right, like even a little bit, and I love it, and I can't get it. But I really did want to do a plug for, and they don't know we're doing this, But we actually have a fellow heathen who runs a restaurant. He's an executive chef at Bistro 222 and up in Salt Lake. And he's told me about he'll ask him, and I geek out about cheese. He'll like, oh, I have Bailey Hayes and Blue on my cheese plate right now. And yeah, so, but he's doing some great things there in fine dining as well. So.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna depart from our wonderful world of inclusiveness and being worldly, and we're gonna narrow that focus into our favorite segment that we have, our videos for the week.
Woohoo!
So we're gonna go into the very narrow-minded world of people like Pat Robertson.
Bet he doesn't eat Thai. Bet he never has.
I bet he eats cock. Oh no! When he goes to hell, he will. No, actually, it looks like a pink Yoda in the picture that I have queued up here. But anyway, he's talking about the recent quote unquote stock market crash. The market adjusting itself, not crashing. Dummies. Saying that the reason for the stock market crash was God's judgment for abortion and Planned Parenthood.
Oh.
So everything can be blamed on the souls of dead babies, that are going to the best possible place they possibly can go.
God can't think of any other way to express his angst than to crash the stock market.
To fuck over the rich people. Yeah. I'm so angry I'm gonna mess with somebody's portfolio.
Well, he already pulled the giant flood kill everybody card. He can't do that again.
Well, yeah, because he promised everybody with a rainbow that it would never happen.
You ever hear about me flipping over tables and whipping the money changers, bitches? Check this shit out, motherfuckers.
I'm gonna fuck with your stock portfolio. All right, here we go.
Listen, that organization is an absolute monstrosity. To take your money and my money, which the government extorts from us every year in the form of taxation.
Hold on, Chris.
Motherfucker!
Hot meat kettle.
Is he paying taxes through his fucking 700 club?
No!
I'm sure that diamond mine in Africa is not being taxed.
He gets his fucking house for free. He gets to spout his bullshit for free. He pays no fucking taxes. What the fuck is he talking about?
Oh!
I see why I love this segment. God damn it.
Okay.
Oh, nothing raises my ire more than this guy. I fucking hate him.
Sometimes I really wish Buddhism was real so that I could actually, get Zen.
Well, no, you can.
I know. I'm talking about, supernatural Zen, not, the practice of Zen.
Well, no, you can. I can teach you how for about $7.50.
About $3.50.
About $3.50. I want my $2.
So, okay, paying taxes. As much as people may not like having to do so, I gladly fucking do so.
Thank you. I support taxes. Please.
Me
because
too.
It funds people that do jobs that are paid a lot less than they would in the private sector. It keeps roads going on. It keeps the fucking interstate going. It makes sure that people have a somewhat okay access to healthcare nowadays. It does
sewer.
This water,
it does
sewer,
so goddamn much for people. But everybody thinks that they're being taken for a ride for some reason.
Libraries. I mean, I'm sorry. There's so many resources. I mean, consider the science funding that goes on. Consider the art funding that goes on. And this is all a public good. These are things that we are putting into to support each other. You know what? Fuck the military. How come we don't have a better social safety net? That is what taxes should be for. And I will give my taxes if we have those things because it's better for all of us.
Bernie.
Well, I went on a bit of a rant about this on the Godless Rebelution during one of our episodes where I said, I would gladly pay 15%, 20%, 25%, 30% more in taxes each and every fucking paycheck if I knew that I didn't have to pay the 15 or 20% that I'm currently paying to
make somebody rich.
Rich in my medical care.
Right.
And that's just the portion that I pay. That doesn't include the amount that my employer has to pay toward my health care. Right? If they were to take that amount and give that back to me and then I pay the 25, 30%, whatever it is to pay for health care for myself and everybody else, cut out the fucking middleman, cut out the insurance companies, let me deal with my doctor directly, or have it be a universal healthcare
Yeah, single payer.
Yeah, single payer system. Fuck yeah, I would do that. Why the fuck do I have to give my money to an insurance company who gets to tell my doctor what services he can provide?
Why the fuck does the hospital get to itemize every single thing that comes across on the bill for much higher prices than you would pay for it at market
And charge
price?
you $15 for one aspirin.
Yeah, or a bottle of shampoo when you're in the hospital. If you don't even use it, they still charge you for it. That's like $25.
All right, I'm going to add an asterisk to something I said. Fuck the military does not mean fuck service members, because in fact they're getting fucked even harder than the people who sit there and or even like they're getting fucked pretty much one of the worst by the people who sit there and claim, oh, service members are so great. The thing is that the training that they get going in, it used to be real world certifications, but they changed it, so now they're not real world certifications. So they can't actually take these credentials and go out and do the same job in the real world. Like if you get a graphic design job in the military, it's not actually considered a graphic design education certificate or anything in the real world. They won't actually look at those as education credentials. You can still have your portfolio, but that credential doesn't exist. This is the same for the journalism. This is the same for engineering. Like, it's
Or my brother that was a diesel mechanic in the army.
exactly.
He didn't get to use any of that shit in the real world.
That's just it. And so even though these people are skilled and they're well trained and well experienced, their credentials get thrown the fuck out the window. We don't have support for them after they're out of the military. We don't have mental health facilities for them. So when I say fuck the military, I mean fuck the government's funding of the military.
So, this 5-minute rant brought to you by 13 Seconds of Pat Robertson.
Are we going to keep going,
Okay.
or are we just going to...
Yeah, we're gonna keep going.
All right, here we go.
Short of tyranny. You know that business about taxation without representation? Well, we're getting taxed, and the left is saying we're going to give it to an organization that is repugnant to most Americans.
Not most.
Okay, your tax money is not going to abortion.
Nope. And not most Americans. Most Americans don't actually agree with you.
And the other portion, and I'll click play again really quick here. Taxation without representation.
Right?
Do you currently have Senate and Congress members in your state?
Oh, he does?
If the answer is yes, then you are fucking represented.
I know, they love to throw
Shut up.
taxation without representation. Did you vote? You have representatives? Representation. So easy.
God damn it, I hate these people.
And the president has basically said, if you take that out of the budget, he said in a previous negotiation about sequester, he said, if you take this money away, I will shut the government down. Now,
No,
we didn't.
that was somebody else.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Mike
I was
Lee.
gonna say, I
Thank
don't
you
think
very
that was
much.
sad. I don't think that was sad.
Thanks to that asshole, I lost like 2 weeks worth of pay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. No. Our main income gone.
Dickhole. God.
that's how strong he feels about funding the murder of unborn babies.
Yep, sure.
Look here,
Absolutely.
asshole. Nobody
Yep.
wants to kill children.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure there are people out there. I don't want to equivocate for everybody.
Kyle was gonna say, I'm a father.
Well, I think you should nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going.
Okay.
And here in America, we have been complicit in terminating the lives of in excess of 50 million precious unborn children.
Oh God! Just
God is
the women who carry them aren't precious. I'm sorry. The women who carry them don't fucking matter at all. No, they're fucking vessels, and if they might die, well, that was God's plan. But if they don't want to risk their fucking lives or their livelihoods to carry a fucking clump of cells, then they're fucking evil and they're wasting precious babies. Ah!
Well, I just want to point out here that all these people on the right that are, especially this a-hole that I'm looking at on the computer screen here, you care for them until they're born.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden you're like, fuck you, you're not white.
Wasn't he
Go
just
away.
bitching about taxation that's taken by force? Like that very thing that we want to use to support babies of single parents. You were just bitching about? Oh, Oh, the
Okay.
dissonance.
Let's let him finish his stupid rant here.
Alright.
Unborn children. And don't you think Almighty God is going to hold us accountable for that? We will pay dearly as a nation for this thing going on. And possibly if we were to stop all this slaughter, the judgment of God might be lifted from us. But it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. We just have a little taste of it in terms of the financial system, but it's going to get shaken to its core in the next few months, years, or however long it takes. And it will hurt every one of us. It's coming down the road, but at least we could repent and try to change.
Or you could pay taxes. Just saying.
Or, I don't even have words for this kind of dumb. Okay, God's wrath is so finite. I'll take the map position here. Your crippled ass God is going to attack the financial system of the United States, but he's not going to do it like all in one stroke. He's going to slowly time release it like a NyQuil tab.
It's almost like he's not really fucking there, right?
It's
Weird.
amazing,
Weird
isn't it?
sometimes. And I mean, sometimes stock markets have, points of high and low. And I mean, we're in early third quarter. People are starting to squirrel away money for the holidays. We're between any sort of big weekend. And we got Labor Day coming up, but nobody's really shopping for that yet.
Well, and I'm going to segue this into the next asshole with the microphone that we are working so hard to fight against, and that's Glenn Beck.
Ugh.
Who claims that Dan posted this on his own Facebook page. I'm sorry, I don't Twitter as much. I Facebook the fuck out of the world, but I don't Twitter that much.
Dan's twit.
Oh, man.
I went on a huge fucking rant on this on our lost episode last week, and I'm so sad.
Man.
So I'm really happy that I'm here tonight to be able to talk about it a little bit more.
You get to do it again, yeah. So Glenn Beck is claiming that we're at the end. Because, and I'm not going to talk about the shooting because, you know what? He doesn't deserve the fucking attention. There was a shooting in Virginia. You guys have heard about it. You don't need to know more information because, you know what? You already fucking know everything you need to know.
Yep, it was terrible.
So, Glenn Beck. Yeah.
That works.
That's like Donald Trump.
Ronald Raven.
Remember what I've been saying recently? I think that God is giving me one final warning. He's telling us, you got one more chance. This is it. I'm telling you, this is it. This is what I was afraid. This is why I called that rabbi in Jerusalem and said, do I have this right? Because this is God saying last chance.
So some random shooting is a last chance?
Yeah, this is the last chance.
This is the last chance.
What kind of pedantic fucking parent is God in this situation where he's like, I'll give you one more chance. Nope, stop doing it. Nope, don't do that. Nope.
I don't know. That sounds pretty parent-like to me.
I thought that they
Get that penis out of your mouth. Nope.
Can't tell you how many last chances I've given my kids.
Oh, you shot a reporter and a cameraman. That's the straw that broke the camel's back.
It has nothing to do with the guy being fucking unhinged.
Shouldn't he be like stoked? Like, Jesus is coming back, you guys! Honey!
I firmly believe that all of these people realize that they are taking other people for a ride. Especially with Glenn Beck being the morning zoo reporter that he used to be. Not even a reporter, a fucking like a radio newscaster guy.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even call him a newscaster. He was a morning
He was a shop
DJ.
Morning show. He's a morning DJ. Hey, this is Glenn. Hey, how's it going? We're here with the breakfast flakes.
I mean, not to.
I just came down off my
disparage
cocaine
morning
binge.
DJs.
How is everybody doing this morning?
Yeah, not to disparage
Everyone
morning
should listen.
DJs because we're about to talk to one.
No,
But
not
even
all of
he
our
would not
DJs,
defend
including
Glenn.
the zoo ones, but yes, we love
No.
our certain radio that might be from a very hot area that is thus far mythical.
So, okay, we're going to keep going.
He says, look what I did to Shiloh. Look what I did. That was the first place I put my name on, and I destroyed that place.
Except it still exists, You can still point to it on a map. There's not a giant fucking black hole on the map.
So what's destroyed? It kind of went through an economic downslope, it kind of went into a slum. Then it came back, and then it's never been like huge, but it's Been around.
Well, and I'm not usually one to comment on people's choice of style, but he's wearing a fucking plaid shirt with a vest.
Oh.
No.
So you better go look and see what happened to any place. And may I suggest, in modern times, we look at any place that God has destroyed or allowed themselves to destroy themselves because they got out of control.
Uh-huh.
I told these guys 15 years ago, you ever start hear me reading right from the scriptures, you know we're at the end.
Really?
Okay, let's remind everybody that Glenn Beck is Mormon.
Yee.
So the scripture that he is reading from is probably the Joseph Smith version of the Bible.
No. He hasn't gotten to it yet, and I'm just waiting to fucking leap on this shit, man.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Reading today right from the scriptures. And I apologize to anybody who doesn't want to hear it. I apologize to anybody who doesn't understand it. But I'm telling you, as we watch things like a shooting on television and a shooting in a street, this is the beginning of sorrows.
Okay.
Ah, there it was, motherfucker. He's reading directly from the Mormons' preferred version of the Bible, which is the King James Version that comes from Matthew 24, verse 8, where Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says that, you know, all these things are the beginning of sorrows, where it's, for the nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. He's reading directly, he's mentioning directly from the King James Version of the Bible, which, as I said, is the Mormons' preferred version of the Bible.
Okay, but here's the thing, is that's literally all the time. In all of history, in all of the earth. Except for the kingdoms thing, that's specifically required to be humans. But a nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, that's going on all the fucking time.
And for Glenn Beck to say that this is the beginning of sorrows, forget all of the fucking wars that we've had in our past, forget all of the other atrocities that have ever happened, forget the earthquakes and tornadoes and tsunamis that wipe out 250,000 fucking people. This is the beginning of sorrows to Glenn Beck.
No,
right here.
I'm going to bring it even smaller than that. I'm sorry, but a couple white people, they were white, the reporter, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, the reporter and the cameraman.
Yeah, they were white.
Yes.
Couple of white people getting shot on camera is the end times, but not the white guy going into the black church and shooting those black people? No, that was not the end times. No, 2 white people on camera, that's the end times.
Well, you know, the difference here, Felicia, is that the shooter in this case was a gay black man. So obviously that's the beginning of sorrows.
Oh,
he was also Jehovah's Witness.
Scary black man who also was gay. And also was
Jehovah's
crazy.
Witness.
Let's just, that's not the same, those are not all the same thing. This guy was also crazy. He
and a J-Dub.
Black and gay.
I keep bringing it up because I think that needs to be hammered home. Is that this guy believed that he was doing the will of God.
Absolutely, especially after Bill fucking O'Reilly comes out and says that all of the shootings within the last 40 years or whatever fucking number he threw out there are all committed by secular people and those who don't profess a belief in God. They're all happening because of atheists and agnostics going around killing people, which is fucking bullshit.
That is bullshit. That is bullshit to the extreme. I mean, and statistically, that's not even possible because most of this nation still has some sort of theism. So that doesn't even begin to cover it. Second of all, wait, did you just tell me that this guy that shot the reporter and the cameraman was a theist?
Yep.
Wow, because I really didn't even bother to learn his name because fuck that guy. But
yeah.
Yep.
Well, and Glenn Beck,
I'm going to point out a resource to everybody here, and I don't normally send people to underground websites like this, but make sure you have your ad blocker on. But go to Encyclopedia Dramatica. You can find it on the internet if you know how to get around to places.
I found bad.
Be prepared. It is a not safe for work website.
Yeah. It's not safe
read
for
the article
website.
they posted about this guy, and you have to understand they take satire and they take, everybody is an equal target at that website. So don't go there and not expect it to be offended because you will be offended.
Well, and Glenn Beck is cherry picking from this book and chapter, from the book of Matthew in this particular chapter 24. This is the same fucking chapter where Jesus says, "Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled," talking about him coming back. Jesus is specifically telling all of his disciples that he will be back within a generation.
Yeah.
And of course, that hasn't fucking happened. But for Glenn Beck, this is the beginning of sorrows.
No, it refers to every single generation alive. That's why they're the Latter-day Saints. That's why the Baptists are always like, we got to prepare for the end times, yo. Like,
well, don't even get me started on other chapters in Matthew, like don't pray out in public. Do it in the home.
Well, it's
like it's the giant, and I use the term because I stole it from somebody else. It's the big book of multiple choice.
Yep.
it's just another example of their goalposts being on wheels.
I have a hypothesis.
They just move them whenever they need them.
Where was this end of times talk when you had Sandy Hook?
No. I really have. Well, yeah. What?
When was this end of times talk when Tamir Rice was shot?
No. He was too brown.
It just kills me that Glenn Beck says that this is the beginning of sorrows, and we're talking about Glenn Beck, who is Mr. fucking Nazism. That's all he wants to ever fucking talk about, right? Is that the Nazis ruined the world, and the Nazis came and destroyed the Jews, and they're bringing about the second coming of Christ and everything. But to Glenn Beck, even with all of his fucking Godwin bullshit, this is the beginning of sorrows for him. I wanted to rip my fucking beard out of my face.
And you watch entirely too much like Sunday edition stuff. And I've been following everything you've been watching today on Facebook. I kept waiting for the giggle though.
I once watched a video of an Islamic extremist in London walk up to a complete stranger, stab him multiple times. Oh yeah, the guy died. And then walk up to the camera that happened to be filming at that moment and go, because they were like filming a selfie or something, and then they're like, what the fuck? And walk up to the camera and go, this is for everything you have done to my home country.
Oh, that was the guy that beheaded the dude on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did he behead him? No, I swear.
Yeah, he beheaded the service member. He was an SAS person.
That's right. It was beheaded. My brain didn't want to remember something that gruesome, but I saw the video. And I'm like,
the dude had blood all over his hands and the knife and everything.
The gay black guy who God told him to kill people is the sign of the end times.
Yeah,
I'm really confused.
While we're talking about fascist states, let's move over to Brian Fisher, who says that pornography, adultery, and Ashley Madison ought to be illegal.
No.
These are the dumb fucks that are funded by giant multinational corporations that get fucking funding for this kind of talk.
No, those things should not be illegal.
Keep in mind, these guys, you might not know this because you're not a podcaster or anything, people out there that are listening to this right now, but these guys are talking into like $4,000 microphones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Brian Fisher thinks that these things should be illegal because they keep embarrassing the fucking Christians who speak out about them all the time.
Yes.
Who speak against them, and then are the ones who end up being the people who are using the fucking services. That's why he thinks they ought to be illegal, because it's embarrassing his people.
Well,
I
think Ashley Madison ought to be illegal, but only because it was extortion.
Yeah.
Because apparently there weren't any women there.
Yeah, that was a cool article. It was absolute extortion, and they lied about deleting the accounts. They were taking money for deleting accounts after apparently no one could have an affair through there.
Okay, so Brian Fisher, you guys will know the voice if you don't know who I'm talking about.
And I believe that pornography could be and ought to be illegal. It ought to be against the law.
No.
The First Amendment protects freedom of speech. It does not protect the freedom or the right to take your clothes off and have sex in front of a camera. That's one of the ways.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that absolutely protects that.
Okay.
The First Amendment has just been mangled completely out of all recognition.
Like corporations having the right to have free speech.
They're people.
Money on
fucking people, and money is speech.
I can't stab a corporation. That's one of my favorite equivocations with that one.
Yeah, I can't take my clothes off and fuck a corporation either.
Yeah, but a corporation can fuck you.
Bam.
This is the website, which is designed to promote adulterous liaisons. I think that is a website that by its very nature ought to be illegal. And you say, well, why? Well, we have laws against shoplifting. You think we ought to have laws against shoplifting? Well, yeah. Okay, well, why? I mean, that's a choice that somebody makes. They can make a choice to shoplift or not. Why do you want to interfere with their freedom to choose?
Okay, but big point here. You can't actually arrest somebody for shoplifting unless they've actually done the act.
Right.
You can't arrest me for murder for thinking about stabbing the derp in the head 13 times with a fucking pencil.
Well,
Or, as in Dan's case, damn.
We can't.
I've thought about garroting somebody with my fucking mouse cable before.
We can't make sex between consenting adults illegal. Even if somebody doesn't like it, like the spouse, we can't make that illegal because...
But you know what? That's why it's a civil case, not a criminal case.
Because there are plenty of cases. If we put too many restrictions on what kind of consensual sex is legal, if we put any restrictions on it, we are going to end up restricting safe consensual sex, such as with polyamorous relationships. There's no good way. You can't ethically control this one. Go ahead. I got a point after he goes on.
Okay.
If they want to shoplift, why don't you let them? Isn't this a free country? Isn't this all about choice? Who are you to legislate? Who are you to judge? Who are you to impose your morality on the rest of us? Let them make their own choice. And you say, well, no, we couldn't do that because there are shopkeepers that would be hurt. They'd go out of business. They could be bankrupted if we didn't have some kind of consequence for shoplifting, because somebody's going to get hurt. That would be your point. Somebody's going to get hurt. Well, what happens when you have adultery? Somebody, by definition, gets hurt. I mean,
not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think there's plenty of marriages out there where someone's like, yeah, I kind of was pushing him towards that for a long time.
Well, there's...
This marriage needs to be over with.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm done. That's okay. I've already fucked the gardener like 12
Well, and it's
times.
it's not that somebody will always be hurt in situations like this. I mean, we all know polyamorous people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that somebody will always be hurt in these types of situations. No. Sometimes it's consensual.
Well, and it doesn't... Here's the thing, is that hurts in relationships are really those individual relationships and the terms they set together. There's really no control that we can have. I fucking hate the quiverful movement, but I'm not actually going to legislate against it. There's a difference there. I will say, you shouldn't fucking do that. It's fucking terrible. But I'm not going to actually make any laws that say, you can't be a quiverful. The hurts that occur in these kinds of relationships with consenting adults, you can't morally legislate that. I'm sorry, you can't.
Nope. So we're going to move on to good old Ted Cruz. And we've got a couple of clips for him, and we'll try to make this somewhat quick because we are fastly approaching time on this segment. God damn, this has been fun.
You have a lot to say.
This is my favorite clip from Ted Cruz for the week, and he's talking to Jan Mickelson about a certain type of atheist out there, which I think most of us fit into that category. So here we go.
Just a little bit about the brazenness of the of aggressive, the atheist Taliban, plus the complicity of our system. Anytime they furrow their brow at anybody, they fold up and go home and give them what they want.
Because we have a fucking secular government.
Yeah, how often do they actually fold up and give us whatever the fuck they want, whatever the fuck we want? If that were the case, then atheists would be leading the government. We would have a 90% plus portion of the United States Senate and House of Representatives that are atheist, right? Instead of Christians.
We don't have any open atheist members of the government, do we?
No, none.
I think there's.
I can't say all government.
No, I think there's a very. I think there's a very, very small handful. In that you can count them on one hand, but yes, there are members out there.
I mean, because what's his name? God, I forget.
Barney Frank.
Yep.
Barney Frank came out too late.
Yes, after he left office.
It really bothered me too that Barney Frank told everybody. You know, he made this public statement on as a Big Think video where he said that atheists shouldn't come out of the closet and shouldn't tell people that they're atheists if they plan on running for any government office. That really bothered me.
I yelled at my computer at work for that one. I'm like,
God,
you asshole.
But that makes me feel terrible. No, you should run for office, and you should say if you're an atheist.
Absolutely. I mean, how would Barney feel if somebody else came out and said, oh, no, if you're gay, you shouldn't come out. You shouldn't tell anybody that you're gay. That's not how any kind of progress is made. If you are an atheist and you're a good person and you're doing good things, you should absolutely fucking tell people that you're an atheist. They have this concept in their mind that atheists can't be good people.
Yeah, and they want to perpetuate that. Well, and there are these atheists who are like, well, we just keep it to ourselves, and they're allowing that image to perpetuate.
Yeah, absolutely.
This brings to the forefront the fact that, okay, yes, there was a closet for a long time for gay people. It is now finally fine for you to come out of it. I mean, not in all places, I understand that. But at the same time, life, I mean, I don't want to equivocate, gay and atheist at the same time, because I can only imagine how hard it would be to be both at the same time.
Right.
But when we're facing it, it's a much more of an uphill battle for an atheist than for a gay person, because a gay person can still be Christian.
At this point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, in this country right now, where we are still relegated to a closet in a lot of ways for our livelihood and for our relationships with our families, many of us, not me, I got lucky, but where we live, these things are still conditional on us claiming to be believers. There was a time in the United States where, and it was a real problem, gay people were thrown into mental institutions. They were arrested. Mobs would kill them or beat them. There's the case of Matthew Shepard. Luckily, now that atheists are starting to become more prominent, we're not living in that to that extent in this country. In this country, there are atheists being put to death or having mobs come after them in other countries, and it's horrific and terrifying.
Yeah, like Bangladesh, goddamn.
Yeah, but
it all depends on your location. I mean, if you want to talk about it being worse for gays than atheists, I mean, you have no further to look than Russia, where Sarah Palin can see them from her fucking doorstep.
Right.
I mean, in Russia, I would say that being gay is more dangerous than being an atheist.
Well, yeah, because there was the Soviet Union for the longest time that was removing. Religion. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's and yes, there. I mean, I don't want to sit here.
And I speak of movements specifically on this show, not as a worldwide thing, but as a localized to Utah and to the United States in particular.
Right.
Because I mean, if we were talking about feminism, we'd be more worried about feminism in Saudi Arabia and other African countries.
And I am, but.
But the thing is, yeah, you understand.
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
We're moving on. Ted Cruz, atheist Taliban.
There is an assault on faith and an assault on religious liberty we see across this country, and it has never been as bad as it is right now.
Because we're not fucking backing down.
And we've mentioned it time and time and time again on the Godless Rebelution that these fuckers confuse religious privilege with religious liberty.
Thank you. I was about to say that exact same thing, privilege.
Moving on.
When it comes to this aspect of religious liberty, driving any acknowledgement of God out of the public square, you have radical atheists and liberals who go to the court system and try to tear down long-standing monuments. This has been something, as you know, religious liberty is a deep and personal passion of mine.
Why?
That I have been leading the fight in for 2 decades. Why? Well, look, both because of my faith. I'm a Christian, and it matters to be able to live according to your faith and your conscience.
Nobody's
stopping that. Do it from
that.
the privacy of your own fucking home.
Yeah, nobody is stopping that. Nobody is stopping him from saying on the radio as running for office that he's a Christian. I don't see a problem with that. I don't. What I do have a problem with is him saying that he wants to govern as a Christian, that he wants this country run as a Christian. And somebody explained to me, just because we've always done something a certain way, why does that make it a good thing? First of all, we haven't always had God on everything. The Ten Commandments monuments haven't always been there. So tradition can fuck right off with that one. But second of all, even if they had, why does that matter?
Yeah, he tries to appeal to a tradition all the time when that tradition hasn't always been in place. That's a fairly recent development, right?
It started in the late 50s or so.
And then Ted Cruz also has to say whether he believes that the United States is a pluralistic nation in which all views are considered valid and worthy and are worthy of respect as much as any other views, or they're not. I mean, does he really want to live in a theocracy? It sounds like he really does.
Well, he does, as long as it's his theocracy.
Yeah, as long as it's a Christian theocracy. It's a very, very short-sighted view.
It doesn't even matter Christian, because it has to be his Christian.
Well, to steal a nice little quote from Jon Stewart, he's confusing persecution with not always getting what he wants.
Right.
And I have a perfect little example of that when we come to our end of the show here. I just wanted to tease you guys a little bit.
Chris, you're such a tease.
I'm a tease. So I really can't stand fucking Ted Cruz, and for anybody who wants to vote for him, shame the fuck on you, because this guy is the worst shill that you could possibly find.
Especially if you were an Obama birther. Especially if you were a birther.
Oh, yeah.
So we have further Ted Cruz when Ellen Page, who is a phenomenal fucking actress.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I haven't played the game that she's featured in. I can't remember what the name of it is, but
Last of Us.
Last of Us,
And
yes.
Salt Lake City is the end. Sorry, spoilers.
Mhm.
I haven't played it either, but
Damn
I'm
it!
excited for that. I'm excited for that.
I mean, it's like a 4-year-old game, so we can't really bitch. She was really great in Super, which, if you guys have never seen that superhero movie with Rainn Wilson,
Mhm.
am I the only one that's seen that? Kyle, have you seen it
Oh,
yet?
yes, of course I've seen that.
I've seen
Oh,
it. Yeah.
that's a fucking magnificent movie, because it takes you down bridges you don't think it would take you in a movie.
Dude, that train crash at the opening is awesome.
And
Oh, no, you're thinking Super 8.
Oh, well, never
There's
mind
a movie
then.
called Super with the guy that played Dwight on The Office.
Yeah, Rainn Wilson. Yeah.
Where there's a point in the movie where he feels like he needs to become a superhero, and he gets a direct message from God, which happens to be a tentacled monster that opens his brain.
nice.
Like it does this on the fucking movie. Like, it's a low budget movie, but like it opens his skull cap up, squeezes like ketchup and mustard on his brain, and rolls its corn dog over the top of it, and like it's a weird fucking movie, but it's hilarious as hell, because Ellen Page is like the fangirl that wants to be the sidekick,
No.
but something terrible fucking happens, and it's amazing. You guys need to watch the movie.
Will
It's
do,
really
will
fun to
do.
watch.
Love it.
And Kevin Bacon's the bad guy. But anyway, Ellen Page talking to Ted Cruz in Iowa, I believe,
Yes, the
at
Iowa
the
State
fair that they were having there.
Yeah.
What the
Where
hell
they
was
have
she
all the
doing there?
pundits show
I mean,
up.
that's awesome, but wow.
I didn't realize she was American. I thought she was Canadian.
She's Canadian born.
Okay.
just
But-
like
Just like Ted Cruz did.
Yeah.
Okay. So she confronted him as he was cooking some pork, I guess, because of his apron,
It looked like burgers, but they were wearing pork aprons. Yeah.
about LGBT rights. So here we go.
A lot of people, particularly like in the LGBT community, are worried just because in the past, during segregation era, or when women were trying to, get the right to vote, religious liberty was often used to defend and justify that discrimination. So a lot of people in the LGBT community just have this fear due to the past examples that that's what's going to happen. So I was wondering if you could speak to that.
Well, it's interesting you bring up that example. If you actually look at the history in this country of defeating slavery, you look at the history of defeating Jim Crow, there's leaders in the church that played a critical
Yep, of course, they take the fucking moral high ground on this one.
Yep. I love what she says though, so I'm gonna just let her say it.
role. Reverend Martin Luther King stood up against, you read the letter from the Birmingham jail where he calls upon the conscience of Christians to stand up.
But a lot of religious people also use the Bible to defend segregation, to defend slavery. So,
Well,
so I'm just saying, I think religious freedom is so important. It's so crucial for all religions. LGBT people are worried that they will directly be discriminated against because of the bill.
But we don't have a right to force anyone to abandon their faith. Tonight at the rally, we're going to have people from all over the country who have lived according to their faith and have been persecuted. And it is one of the foundational commitments of who we are as Americans to respect diversity, to respect the right of every American to live according to his or her conscience, his or her faith.
Sure, but for example, still in a lot of states, LGBT people can be fired for just being gay or for just being trans. That's totally legal. I mean, how do you feel about that? That just doesn't sound very American to me.
At the end of the day,
Go ahead, answer the actual question.
Yeah, she fucking sussed him hard on that one.
Yeah,
He's
fucking
just like,
answer the question.
doing is persecuting people who follow their faith. Like, I'll give an example. One of the
I don't understand the giant fucking disconnect between these people that think that because someone's saying, no, you're not allowed to persecute me, that all of a sudden that's persecution against them. Maybe it's because I don't understand the religious mindset because I've been out of the Bible Belt for too long.
Well, it's like somebody who's not a believer who is being beaten over the head by a Christian bully with a board, who rips the board out of the bully's hand and starts beating them over the head, and the bully starts screaming, "Oh, persecution, persecution!"
I just don't get it.
The couples that's going to be featured tonight.
I know, but what about the question about LGBT people getting fired for just strictly being gay or trans?
Well, what we're seeing right now is actually we're seeing Bible-believing Christians being persecuted. So, for example, one of the couples
discriminating against LGBT.
No, for living according to their faith. So, for example,
Yeah, but you think people would use that argument in segregation era.
I'm happy to answer your question, but not to have a back and forth debate.
I'm going to cut it off there because, I'm not going to have a back and forth debate with you.
Because I'd fucking lose.
Yeah, well, because he can't actually answer any of the questions she's asking, and she kind of brings up some damn good points. These are the same arguments used against women, against black people, and the fact that he's like, no, but there were some religious people. Yeah, fuck off. Fuck right off, because these exact... You can't always tell which arguments were for gay people, religious arguments for against gay people, or religious arguments against black people, or religious arguments against women. You can't even pull them out if you just look at the quotes. You can't tell.
Well, the KKK is a secular organization. Didn't you know that, Felicia?
Yes, they are. They actually don't discriminate against anyone. Black people
nowadays
are welcome to join.
We might call you monkey boy, and we might burn a cross in your lawn every once in a while, but you're welcome to join as long as you're a dues paying member. We don't care.
No, what they want is black people condoning their attitudes. They want people of color to come into the group and say, "Yep, they're right, you guys," and it's just not happening.
And holy shit, we've sucked up almost this whole segment on videos alone.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Alan West and Ben Carson are members.
Of the KKK. I wouldn't doubt it. They're trying to get votes from anywhere they can. And who was it? Oh shit, David Duke endorsed Donald Trump. I read that this week.
Yeah, that was another one of the segments that we had on the lost episode, man. I was so disappointed.
Like, motherfucking David Duke endorses you? You better drop out of the race.
Like, if everybody is pointing to some of the racist shit that you've said and telling you that it's racist and you keep trying to deny it, and then you get a ringing endorsement from a former Grand Wizard from the Ku Klux Klan, maybe you should re-examine some of the positions and the shit that you're saying.
Maybe.
I'm sad that I'm missing most of Matt's fucking going off tangents about this stuff. I was honestly sad that I missed the episode this week, but the one that you guys did post, I hadn't listened to before, so it was a really good listen anyway.
Great listen, yeah.
I think it's a little sad that you just asked Donald Trump to try to re-examine anything.
Donald Truck.
That's setting the bar pretty high for him, isn't it?
Let's talk about the wig.
It's his real hair. It's just a giant comb over.
Oh, I'm not sure I believe that.
It is a Bill Murray-esque / Kingpin comb over that he's got.
No, it's just really shitty hair.
It's so bad.
Yeah, during the debates, it looked like somebody had tried to blur out his hair. I don't know if any of you watched the actual debates, but when Donald Trump was on stage, it looked like somebody had used a blur filter, like to blur out a giant cock sticking out of his forehead.
I come from France.
If you just make your hair blurry, no one will notice.
Oh, let's see, man. We have tons of other news we could get to. Since we're talking about the abortion thing earlier with Pat Robertson, there was a guy from True News radio program, Rick Wiles, said that if the governor of Washington State could end the severe wildfires in the Pacific Northwest, if he simply brought the state back into God's good graces by banning abortion. Because saving the innocent soul, throwing that virgin into the volcano will quell the volcano from going off,
Well, God is just trying to create hell here on earth until we give up the whole practice of abortion.
I know none of us believe in it for real, but if there was a chance where the rapture actually happened, How fucking amazing would it be to live on Earth?
Oh my god, I would be so excited. Bring on the fucking rapture, man.
Please, can we please be wrong about everything and have that happen?
Have it be all of the Abrahamic religions.
Yeah,
pull
all
everybody
of them.
away. All of them. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Mormons, all of them.
I mean,
just pull them all away.
Then we're still going to have to contend with the extreme Hindus that exist. There are them, don't.
And militant Buddhists as well, because those exist also.
They do. Don't tell me they don't, but there's...
Yeah, don't fucking believe him. Everything that everybody tells you about the Dalai Lama, about him being such a nice guy.
Fuck the Dalai Lama.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Fuck the Dalai Lama and fuck all that noise. And Buddhists got their own shit. No, we still have to contend with all that. And to be fair, I still believe either Buddhism or Hinduism is still the largest religion on the planet. One of those two. Can't remember. So we're still going to have most of the planet being religious, but I feel like we could get some more shit done, at least in the Western world, and then we can start addressing all that craziness. And like the rest of us can go to like North Korea and be like, no, we're done. We're done with your shit. Cult of personality over there.
They grow weed like all over the country in North Korea. Not saying that's what I want to do or anything, but just, never mind. You know what? That ends a second. We're going to come back in a second. We'll be right back. Catch you in a minute. And we're back. Thanks for everybody for that little break there. We are going to get into our main topic for this week, and that is specifically getting atheists off of your fat fucking asses, even if you're skinny. You have a fat ass if you're sitting there like checking your Facebook and everything, to make the state purple rather than being red. You know, there are so many great fucking things that you can go to on the website, on different websites, sorry. Like secular.org. We brought that up earlier this week on the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to get involved. They come out every week with action alerts that they have. That specifically, the one that I felt really strongly about this week was the FEMA funds being allowed to be used to rebuild
churches.
Churches, yeah, or places of worship for other types of religions out there.
Other nonprofits don't get the same benefit. Strictly houses of worship, and no, I don't.
If a hurricane was to hit New Jersey and destroy American Atheists, they would not be allowed any kind of FEMA money to rebuild that nonprofit.
Right.
That's fucking bullshit. Yeah. So you need to go to secular.org and sign up for their action alerts that they have. And it takes you literally, and I know you guys have probably heard this if you listen to Dogma Debate. David Smalley says it only takes you a matter of seconds to do this. Yes, the first time you sign up for it, you have to put in your name, address, email, that kind of thing.
During the last podcast.
I just did it right now.
That's what I'm saying.
It is important because once the email shows up at the elected officials' inbox, that allows the secular.org people, the lobbyists or whoever it is that is in Washington, to go to that elected official's office and go, hey, look, we know that you have secular people that live in this state. You need to realize that you need to do this, A, B, or C, you know.
And it's not just state. There are nationwide, but then they also do have state affiliates.
And the great thing is they came out recently with a report card on elected officials.
Yeah.
Especially how they fared on secular issues.
Wasn't Bernie Sanders the only one that passed?
Should we run through real quick on exactly how easy this is to do on the website?
Well, Kyle, have you done it before, or is this going to be the first time?
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah, you just go to secular.org and it's a quick and easy sign up. The other thing you can also sign up for besides secular.org is atheistvoter.org, which is sponsored through American Atheists.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to get to that next, but thank you, Dan, for bringing that up.
So you go to secular.org, you click Take Action.
It's broadcast on the website. It is there on the front page because they know when members of Congress are going to be back from vacation. They know when they're going to be actually looking at their email.
They got the whole schedule.
Yeah, they know what the fuck is going on with the government.
Mm-hmm. So after you click Take Action, you fill in your information. That would be your name, your address.
It is your call to action based on the bill that is being introduced to Congress at the time.
Mm-hmm. And then you click Submit.
And then it comes up with a form letter that they write for you.
Right.
That is on the side of people that have a secular mindset where, look, we don't appreciate this kind of thing. And they pick, based on your area code, they figure out which one of your elected officials this goes to.
And you don't have to identify as an atheist to say that you are secular, that you are for promoting a secular government.
And that's what kills me, is that there's a lot of people that, even if you're Christian, you should be hoping for a fucking secular government.
Absolutely. I mean, you have the Reverend Barry Lynn, who's head of Americans United for Separation of Church and State, who is a Christian theist, who is all about having a secular government because he understands that protects everybody's rights.
Right. The only reason that we have the diversity of beliefs, the only reason we have Mormons, like, let's specifically call out our state. The only reason we have Mormons at all is because of the separation of church and state. If we had a theocratic government, if we had a government that based anything off theism, they would have to pick a specific theism, and Christianity is not actually a specific theism because there's so many different sects and beliefs.
Yeah, which one of the 40,000 sects would they choose to lead our government?
Thank you, Dan. So the only...
For the best...
The only reason we have it is because of separation of church and state. Everyone should believe in this. It shouldn't just be atheists.
And I was going to say, for the best kind of argument you have for which kind of Christianity do you believe in, there was a segment of Dogma Debate where he had Side 10 Brukenkate talking with, what the hell is Kent Hovind's kid? God, what's his name?
Oh, fuck. The other Hovind.
The younger Hovind.
Hovind Jr.
Where he got one of them talking about Calvinism versus Episcopalian or whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah, this was after the debate with Matt Dillahunty and Saitan.
It was hilarious where neither of them could agree with each other. And so David Smalley's like, well, fuck it. You guys don't even agree with each other.
Yeah, David's like, so are you guys friends? And they're both like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but you believe in different versions of Christianity, right? Well, yeah, and it basically boils down to dunking versus sprinkling as far as baptism goes.
Or, the fact that, somebody can find salvation, otherwise the Calvinists that believe that, you're led to salvation.
Yeah, and presupposition versus anything else. And
determinism and all that other bunch of shit. This is like...
Yeah, it's the philosophical differences.
Yeah, this is atheism 3,000 level classes kind of stuff here.
Yeah, so the thing is that, do you want the ability to worship God as you have been convinced you should, regardless of the reasons, or not worship God as you feel you should?
Then you should be secular.
Right. Then you should be secular in your governance.
And since we brought it up at the beginning of the show, I will remind everybody to go to openlysecular.org. You can go there without being an atheist.
Actually,
it's amazing.
Recently, I found out that a member of our, she is a due-paying member of Atheists of Utah. I'm not going to say her name, and I'm going to say she because I don't think that's. I mean, that there's a good chunk of she's in Atheists of Utah.
Oh, that whittles it down, though, Felicia. God damn it.
Oh yeah. She's been on our Facebook page forever. She's a theist. She believes in God. She goes to church every Sunday. I love this woman. I really do. I think she's amazing.
I know that Matt has problems with her.
No, different one.
Oh, okay.
Never mind, Matt likes her quite a bit. And she is an active part of separation of church and state. She wants to push Atheists of Utah. She wants to help push Atheists of Utah to be more of a voice in secularism here in Utah, which is something her and I agree on very, very much. She wants to help us learn lobbying and getting our voices out there with our state. She's a theist, but she believes that her beliefs are protected very much because of separation of church and state, and she believes people should be treated with dignity and respect if they don't believe.
Are you saying she understands the differentiation between freedom of religion and freedom from religion?
Oh,
that you can't have one without the other?
She absolutely does.
Scott Walker doesn't.
Thomas Jefferson be damned.
Well, and if you go to the openlysecular.org website, you can see Arian Foster's story, who's the all-pro NFL running back for the Titans, I believe. And I mean that's amazing. We have a professional NFL football player who has come out as openly secular and atheist.
Well, it still kills me that we lost Pat Tillman to friendly fire.
Yeah.
He was an atheist. He was not afraid of being an atheist.
But that's easily 4 or 5 years before the atheist movement, the third generation atheist movement that we have right now, really picked up steam.
Yeah. Yeah, it was right about the time that you had the Four Horsemen gaining popularity and notoriety.
I also want to encourage everyone who can, if we're going to make this state purple, one thing we can do, one thing that has helped the gay rights movement so astronomically, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily the same thing, but to take lessons from them, is gay people started coming out as gay. They started coming out to friends first and then family. Come out as a non-believer. Come out as that. I understand not everyone feels they can, and I'm not judging you if you can't. I really am not. But really think about your position. Really think about where you're at. And if you don't believe, don't be ashamed of not believing.
Yeah, it was the fact that one of my friends from high school came out as gay and had the courage to do that and stand up to all of the negative criticisms that he was getting, that I was like, he's standing up for who he is as a person.
Right.
The very least that I can do to try to support him is to come out as an atheist. That's when I came out as an atheist online, was after seeing my friend come out as being gay and being unafraid, or not even being unafraid, but just having the courage to come out as being gay online. And I thought, okay, well, I can do my part to help him and say, he's gay and I'm an atheist and I'm okay with him being gay and it's fine. And it was, my little bit of encouragement or support for him coming out, that I was like, yeah, you're not the only one who's viewed as different or other, or as ostracized or criticized for being who you are.
Exactly. So come out, like, if you can. I'm not judging you, but really think about your position and come out. Tell people you're a non-believer. Be open about this.
For me, I think my mom knows, handful of other people know in my lifetime, but you know what? This week, I think I'm going to actually make a post on my fucking Facebook, which is sacrosanct to me.
Yeah.
Saying, look, I'm atheist.
Good for you.
Because I've changed the affiliation and stuff. If people check your status or find out more information kind of thing, they can see who you are, what makes you up. But I think I'm actually going to come out and, say, look, here I am.
I did the same thing. My whole family knew I was an atheist. My close friends knew I was an atheist, but I came out as an atheist.
Well, and for the most part, the only way it would affect me is that, my dad might not talk to me so much anymore. Oh, boo fucking who.
Yeah, I remember when I did it, the girl I was dating at the time, of course we had a lot of mutual friends, but it was one of her friends that we were at a party and I just mentioned that, I had recently come out as atheist online. And this friend of hers, I said this, and this friend of hers turned to me and said, well, that was fucking stupid. And I was like, fuck you, lady. Who the fuck are you to tell me that who I am and having the courage to tell everybody who I am is a stupid move? Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever shared it with the people at large here that listen to the show. We fucking love Utah, I guess. But the story of my wife outing me to her mom. I don't know if everybody's ever heard this one. There was one time where I was over at my wife's house. Back then, my girlfriend, she still lived at home with her mom. And we were talking about something, and we're going to go do this or that on a Sunday afternoon, because that's pretty much about one of the few times we had a lot of time to do things together, was Sunday afternoon. And her mom said something along the lines of, and she's a TBM converted Mormon lady, that thought, well, God's against that kind of thing. And my wife, without missing a fucking beat, outed me. I mean, not even thinking twice about it, what kind of like ramifications it could have on her life. Said, "Oh, that's fine. Chris doesn't believe in God." And I looked at her. I'm like, "The fuck did you just say? Like, what?" And her mom was like, "What? What? What does that even mean?"
Yeah, there's some people who have a hard time wrapping their head around it. Yeah.
Like, how is that even possible? You don't exist without God.
That's a thing? What?
And she looked at me, she's like, "Really? Is that true?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, how does that hurt you?
Yeah, it doesn't affect you.
I'm like, you can still believe in whatever you believe, but guess what? Any grandkids aren't going to believe this shit either. So.
Yeah.
It was just kind of funny that, like, there was, like, no... I didn't, like, equivocate or try to say, I have my own reason for believing these guys. It's just like, is that true? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And what about it?
Yeah. One of the things my ex tried to do was I came out on Facebook. I was very vocal on my Facebook. I would post political things. I would post atheist things. And my in-law family was getting quite offended. Oh, and I would openly engage them in discussion if I disagreed with them on Facebook.
Oh, they hate that. God, they hate that.
Oh, yeah, they really, really do. And he was an atheist himself. He wouldn't actually claim atheist, but he was one of those people that was way more atheist than me.
Oh, I'm agnostic.
Yeah, but he would be like, seriously, what he said, it's a fucking fairy tale. His words.
Well, and for me, honestly, it was as fucking stupid as it might seem to other people, was reading The God Delusion by Dawkins, and him coming up with that seven level scale.
Yeah.
Of what kind of atheist you or what kind of believer are you? And I was like, well, I'm questioning this, that, and the other, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm an atheist. Oh shit, this is gonna cause problems.
Oh no, my whole world has come crashing down around me.
Well, no, because at that time I probably was still somewhat a small believer kind of thing, but then, I realized I was on like 5 on the scale instead of 7 where I'm at now. Back when I still felt bad for having sex on Sundays,
Or for touching your penis.
Like, I shouldn't masturbate on Sundays because that's Jesus.
Well,
That's my favorite day to masturbate.
I called myself an atheist while I still believed in magic. I totally
Is that magic with a C or a K?
CK.
Oh God.
Yeah.
She went both on you.
No, the thing is that Penn and Teller, their show of bullshit, actually explained what atheism was to me. And I was like,
I'm not the first teller.
Through magic, not with a CK.
And I had already disbelieved in all of the pagan gods, but there was a part of me that still felt a spirituality, and to be honest, I still feel that feeling. I just understand it better now. So I believe I felt this connection to humanity and to this planet that we come from, and I felt this stirring of emotion when I thought about my common ancestry with the fucking grass growing outside, and my cat, and my at the time husband. There was this common ancestry, and I felt so moved by this very concept that I felt that there had to be some supernatural connection that I was feeling. Now I understand it as a significant emotional reaction to something that is so remarkably complex and beautiful and amazing, that life is the way it is, that we share this common ancestry. And to be honest, I'm still, to this day, incredibly moved by it. I just don't have to attribute it to a supernatural thought process anymore. But I started calling myself an atheist while I still believed that, and while I was still skeptical of so many other things.
Well, and how
because
cool is it that you don't have to attribute it to a supernatural deity anymore, right? I mean, you can believe all of those things without having to give it any external meaning, that which makes it all that more important, right? Because you're not pushing it off on anybody else. It's all up to you.
Yeah, no, I get to I get to see the patterns and the flow of life and existence, and I get to experience it, and I get to look at this universe, and I get to look at a sunset and say I am a part of all of this, which is why certain concepts of paganism, you know, I may still I'm a terrible pagan because I don't believe in magic anymore. And
I'm a fucking rockin' atheist, but I'm a shitty pagan.
I'm a shit pagan because I really only celebrate the two, Samhain and Beltane. Samhain is Halloween, so I fucking love that shit, and I love the old world traditions, and I love the concept of celebrating being a part of all of this natural world. Because not because the earth gives a shit, not because the universe gives a shit. They don't. There's no consciousness there to give a shit. Nothing I do really affects that. If I do the ceremonies or anything, it doesn't matter. I know that. But the thing is, I like to take a moment to celebrate. And now I've transitioned into saying, this is emotionally significant for me. And I think there's some value in that, and saying, I derive emotional significance from celebration, from ceremony, and there doesn't have to be a supernatural.
Yeah, and I wouldn't go so far as to say that people that listen to the show or anybody who is an atheist should say, you know, I need to significantly or, you know, ritualistically do this kind of, you know, thank the earth for the kind of thing that we are. But you do kind of need to realize at the same time, you are the culmination of billions of years of stardust accreting into matter, eventually turning into life, eventually spawning into DNA, and eventually spawning down to who you are today.
The odds.
I have more appreciation for who I am as a secular person, as an atheist, than I ever did as a religious
because
person.
it's much more amazing, right? It's much more amazing to know all of these facts than to just say God did it.
The story for what made me who I am today, you know, looking at the tree of life, looking at the fact that we came from single cell organisms that came from stars that exploded billions of years before our fucking accretion disk became the solar system that we are nowadays. That came before that, and you just start thinking about it, and you're like, fuck, that's amazing.
Yeah, Dan.
Instead of 6,000 years ago, God, you know, made a pile of dust into a guy.
It's kind of like watching How It's Made.
Yeah.
On the Discovery Channel, and being amazed at the stuff you buy at the store.
My kids love that shit.
As opposed to just thinking that it just shows up there, and nothing goes into making it.
I've watched the one about bologna and silk at least twice.
I know, isn't it amazing? Don't you appreciate the stuff you buy at the store more now?
You guys should watch
I appreciate bologna a lot fucking more.
Yes, Felicia, you've said Dan twice.
Yes, I was listening to your most recent podcast, and I know you lost the episode, but you replayed one. And at the beginning of this episode, you played the audio of Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot speech,
which is awesome.
Every time I hear it, and again, true this morning, I wept. I not like sobbing and crying, but like, yeah, no, but like this.
It's still a tearjerker, man. I get a little weepy.
And it's not like this sadness, but it's this fullness and this beauty, and there's
it's the understanding of wonder and awe.
Yeah, and there's this beauty, you know, the aggregate of all the suffering and joy, every young couple in love, every war-torn country, all of this is ours. And we don't get to pretend that there is some supernatural thing coming to save us. There's nothing coming to fix us or punish us. It's us. That is it. And we're
It's
good
just-
enough. Sorry.
It's the secular people that are going to leave this world the better place than it is right now.
That's just it. I am owed nothing.
It's not the religious folk that you're, using and abusing because, God's making this perfect kingdom for us.
Jesus will fix it.
Jesus will fix it.
No.
But that brings me back to a callback to earlier on the show with Light News. I wanted to talk about they are making a Carl Sagan documentary.
Absolutely.
Or not a documentary,
Yes.
but a movie based on Carl Sagan's life.
Awesome. Is
Bye-bye.
Anna going to be involved?
Andrian is serving as a producer.
Fantastic.
Yes. And I believe she's also
Uh,
going to be involved in the script.
Let's see. They had one of the people that was involved with Mad Max Fury Road, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, Andrian, whose involvement is bound to give the film credibility, needs to stand up to the scrutiny of skeptical Sagan loyalists.
Mhm.
But
The thing about Sagan was,
Zach Dean is supposedly writing the script. He wrote a script in 2012 called Deadfall and not much else. But
Yeah.
it doesn't take much work for your Sagan movie to be well.
no, Sagan,
Because look at Contact.
Sagan had this beautiful way of poetry about him, like of love and passion and joy in life.
My old man was convinced he was an alien. him and Oppenheimer both. He thought they were both aliens.
I'm a huge fan of poetry. I'm a huge fan of.
So it leads me to believe that if my old man's available to think that two of Earth's greatest scientists were actually aliens, I could bring him to the jokingly the dark side of atheism.
Which two?
Oppenheimer and Sagan.
Oh, okay.
Because fucking Oppenheimer was a weird looking dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sagan
Sorry.
was not a weird looking dude. He was.
I am
No,
become
but
death.
he had a way of talking that made you think that he was kind of unworldly in the way that he talked to the people.
No, he was an idealist. I truly believe he was an idealist.
But honestly, the Cosmos show that we had on Fox last year, and are they coming back this year with it, or are they
Yes.
going to be doing anything?
Yes.
Oh,
They
that's gonna
did
be so
renew
fucking
another
good.
season, but they
Oh, really?
made,
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
But I think we should have viewing parties for Neil deGrasse Tyson, because that man, regardless of whatever militant atheism he might have, that dude is an atheist.
Yeah. He is.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
He is preaching that fucking record to the Fox News crowd, the country that is of Fox.
You were going to say the Fox News cunt, were you?
Cunt.
Yeah, the Fox cunt.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. I love that word. Cunt.
Cunt.
Well,
Well,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I know Tyson's going to be involved in the second season, but I don't know if he's going to host the second season. I don't think they've made any official announcements there yet.
Even if they let Bill Nye do it, I would watch it.
Well,
And he's so and Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the few people that I give kind of a pass on not claiming the mantle or title of atheism, right? Because he's much more interested in educating people and
Mhm.
explaining the science behind the incredible universe that we find ourselves in than he is about adopting any particular label.
Well, and because he's a scientist first and foremost, which means he would not claim a positive rating.
Right, yeah, a scientist and an educator.
And so
and as we know,
a lot
you don't
of
have
us
to actually claim a positive to be an atheist. You're without theism.
agreed, but there's a lot of people that do not want to, like we said earlier in the show, do not want to associate themselves with that label.
Yeah, and I think he realizes the stigma that comes with the label, and he doesn't want to adopt it because of the stigma, and because he's so well known and is an educator and is primarily concerned with science. I can kind of give him a pass on not adopting the label.
Yeah, I kind of can too, because if he did, nobody else gets this rule. Okay, not even Bill Nye, and I love me some Bill Nye. But nobody else, not nobody, but very, very, very few people get this rule there are times when there will actually do more harm by claiming the title atheist than good.
Right, because how many people would he potentially turn off from learning or listening to what he has to say just because of the label he's chosen to adopt?
Right, exactly.
And you watch that season of Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson and do not see that as just stringent atheist propaganda.
Oh, it was absolutely atheistic. I mean...
Yeah, well, and he can do so much more good without adopting the label necessarily, right?
Exactly. Well, and this is where we come into consequential ethics, which is what many atheists adopt. I mean, we have to look... There is no hard rules. This is why religious morality is inherently flawed, ethically speaking. Because if you are not actually looking at the consequences of your actions and you're just adopting rules, then it's false. And this is why I say don't judge anyone if they really, truly feel they can't come out. Because if it's going to harm you to a point where you will be destitute, I understand if you feel like you can't come out. I really do. I'm not going to ask anyone to harm themselves or to cause harm just by coming out. And with Neil deGrasse Tyson, if he is an atheist, let's be honest, he is without theism. If he came out as an atheist, that could actually cause a great amount of harm, because he is teaching people who believe critical thinking. And these people have a chance then to look at their thoughts and look at their beliefs and think about them scientifically, skeptically, to actually demand evidence. And he's doing it in such a passionate and beautiful way. Just like I tear up every time I hear a pale blue dot. Seriously, every single episode of Cosmos, I start crying by the end because I'm just so blown away by how beautiful and how wonderful it all is. So yeah, we'll give him a pass. But if you can come out and you just feel, or you just don't want to call yourself an atheist because atheists are bad or something, come on, guys. You're part of the problem.
Well,
But it depends on
there are very few people who can operate almost exclusively in the field of knowledge, just pure, simple knowledge, what we
Certainly
do or
not me.
do not know. People that don't even have to step foot in belief. He's one of those.
Yeah. I don't know. But if we're going to bring it back to our state, I mean, I know all of us atheists love to focus on the big picture, and we love to think about how incredible it is, life in this universe and what we have. If we can bring it back to our state a little bit, I hear so many liberals throw away their vote and say it doesn't matter. It does matter, because we are so close, even with the fucked up electoral college that we have in this country. We are actually so close to forcing them to vote purple. We're
I posted it on Facebook last week that if your vote didn't matter, then politicians wouldn't spend billions of dollars trying to get your vote.
You know why politicians don't visit Utah? Because they think we're a guaranteed red state. Both red and blue. They don't fucking visit us because they think we're a guaranteed red state.
Well, there's that, and they can see the turnout numbers.
Yeah.
They see how few people here actually bother to show up.
And
to
the
vote.
voter apathy here in Utah just fucking infuriates me.
I haven't missed
If you want to see change, then get out there and fucking vote. Your vote does matter, even in a red state like Utah.
It does actually.
Well, that's what kills me, is that the margin for even big name votes like Senate or governor are only decided by a few hundred.
Right.
I mean, Mia Love was decided by, I think, maybe a dozen or so people.
Yeah, it was really close, and
was
even that
really
was
fucking close.
And the vote turnout it's still well below 50%.
Yeah.
So the people who are winning here are getting the majority of half the vote. I mean,
and do you think that's mainly because I think, and having, like what Bernie Sanders wants to do, anybody that's 18 is eligible to vote. That's part of it, I think. I mean, registering to vote's not the big problem. It's the fact that, when it's voting day, getting asses into the actual civic centers to vote for the shit.
Oh, I think there's a very large, very significant argument to be made for mandatory voting.
The problem is that there's a lot of people that don't want to actually go to the place, turn in their ID, wait in line, whatever it is, to vote for whatever public office you have.
But it's 2015.
There
There's
should
a
be
better way to vote. I mean, you can.
Let's have an app.
You can vote by mail. Voting by mail is probably one of the best and
Holy
easiest
shit.
things.
And why
do.
can't we vote online? I think that's fucking ridiculous.
The midterm elections last, I think it was, 2014? Was that the voting year? I can't remember shit. Last year or year before that, that I had my paper ballot come in.
Mm-hmm.
I could sit down at work and, actually decide what I wanted to vote for.
Oh, absolutely. When you vote by mail, you get your ballot and you have 2 weeks,
and
give or take, to actually look at it and make a really informed decision.
Fold, seal, put in the mail.
Yeah.
You're done.
It's 3 weeks. Yeah, they give you 3 weeks.
Well, then there are the people who say, well, I just don't know. I don't know. I haven't followed politics. I don't know. I'm not an informed voter, so I really don't think that that I should vote or whatever. You're still part of the fucking problem. If you don't know, then you should know. You should get involved. You should follow this stuff because it affects you. It affects your family. It affects your job. It affects every part of your life. If you don't know, you need to get involved and you need to find out.
And that's the funny thing. I think we need to tailor the message a lot to the people like, do you make more than $20 million a year? Yes, vote Republican. No, vote Democrat.
Well, and here in Utah,
that really is an oversimplification. I'm saying this only for comedic effect because, fuck you podcast,
Yeah. Well, and here in Utah, I hear so many people say, well, I'm not going to vote. I'm just going to, or I am going to vote, but I don't really know a whole lot about it, so I'm just going to rely on what, this person says. And generally here in Utah, because of the LDS culture, it's a female saying, I don't really know enough, so I'm just going to vote however my husband tells me to vote, which is so fucked up. Like, go out and figure this shit out. Be informed. Make your vote count because it's what you believe, not what your husband believes.
No, but and this is when we talk about feminism, we're not talking about males versus females. This is a common misunderstanding. No, females buy into this social structure as well. And so these females, they don't see themselves as full people either. And we do need to encourage them and say, you are a full person and you are allowed your full decision of all of this.
Absolutely. How many women do we see coming out and speaking out against people like Kate Kelly, who are trying to get equal rights for women within the LDS Church?
No, but these women are conditioned to believe that they shouldn't do that. That they should be quiet and they should just be at home.
Right.
Well, and more methodical is that we have the guys that are against feminism. And I'm not speaking specifically anybody in particular when I bring this up, but like I said a number of episodes ago, is that Aaron Ra laid it out for me perfectly what the modern feminism movement is all about. If you are not considering yourself a feminist, you are in the wrong.
Yep.
Because if you are for gay rights, but not that does not specifically mean that you want gay people to lord it over people that are straight. You just want them to have the same rights
exactly
as straight people do. You are a advocate. You are an ally for the LGBT community. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing for feminism.
Yeah.
It is a term, yes, that borrows heavily on the definition of feminine and the term that it uses to define itself. But that does not mean that you want women to rule over your life.
No. You want just like gay rights isn't saying that they want gays to dominate.
They don't want gay superiority. They don't want...
No.
Yeah.
Feminism is focusing on the issues that females have in this society that are specific to females and their inequality. I am shocked I am shocked and appalled when anyone tells me that females are not actually treated lesser in this society. That's simply not fucking true. There's so much evidence against that.
And the reason I bring this up as many times as I do is because I was one of those guys on Facebook that said, oh, feminism or gender egalitarianism?
Ugh, fuck you. I'm not you, but you.
Yeah, no, please, fuck me, because I was in the wrong.
Look.
Because you know what? Okay, maybe so much in the United States that the gender gap isn't so much as it is with pay. You know, but the same thing is that you want same rights for males and females.
Yeah, nobody is saying that we haven't made progress. Nobody's saying that things aren't better. They are better, but they're not right yet. Me as a female, the fact that just this week, I'm sorry, just a quick feminist rant. There's the fact that just this week, an elderly man tried to grab me. Like my arms, he blocked me in my cheese island where there's only one exit. He blocked me in and tried to grab me. He did touch me. And the fact that I told him not to touch me pissed him off is still an issue. And that's not the first time I've been grabbed. That is not the
fuck
first...
you, buddy.
Yeah. How many of you guys have said, hey, don't touch me? And someone went, no, I'm going to touch you anyway.
Yeah.
How many of them have gotten pissed off at you and called you names? That has happened to me so many times. And
I've been called cunt at least once a week.
I mean, and that's just at work. I had another guy at work put his arm around me and grab my hip in a way that I would only allow somebody I am actively having sex with to grab me. And I would say...
Finger cuffs.
And he grabbed me. And he said, and he whispered in my ear, like in an intimate way. And he thought this was acceptable. And when I told him, hey, don't touch me, he yelled so that everyone could hear. After I'd walked away, he yelled, don't flatter yourself. I've been called a bitch for telling guys, hey, I'm taken. Just because they think they have the right to touch me. I have had guys run their hand all the way up my thighs. All the way, okay? Like
on the
nothing
inside
to
of
get
your
away with.
Yes. Yeah. It's all the way, not invited. They think it's okay.
And this is just me joking. I really wish that would happen with me every once in a while.
Some guy would run his hand all the way up your thigh.
Oh yeah.
Some strange. I'm sorry, but
I wish I went to Sonic and got like a slush and someone was like, "Hey there, buddy."
So and yes, there are skeptics out there who are going to say, "Well, those are just anecdotal." But let me tell you, every single woman I know and have met can tell you a story like that. And it's not just about men treating them like shit. It's other women. It's other women saying that you dress too provocatively. I have stories like that.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
Mm-hmm.
You were asking for it.
Yep.
How is that an excuse for anything?
Because women are objects for sexuality.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
There's an ongoing thing on my fucking Facebook timeline right now where even a woman is going on there saying,
yes!
well, I just don't like when people dress inappropriately. What the fuck is inappropriately? That's so fucking subjective. You tell me what you think is inappropriate.
I posted to the...
And why is that your problem? Like, who are you to determine for everybody else what is inappropriate or not?
That is my
posted to the
point. This is not men. I'm not blaming men. This is a
right. It's everybody.
This is a societal standard, and right now, men and women believe this. I believed these things, not that women dressing a certain way should be right. That never got in my brain, but that I had certain roles, that I had certain things that I had to live up to in order to be a quote good wife, a good woman. These concept of gender roles are so subversive that they get into your head, and that is what feminism is about. Sorry, feminist rant, but the reality is that I'm not demanding that men be subjugated, and people, they bitch about third wave feminism, but I kind of think I fall into that. I'm not saying women should be outplace men, that women should dominate, because that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm just saying, can you treat me like a whole fucking person? And all the women I know. That's all.
So ultimately for this segment, I think we can boil it down to this. It is time for the sane people of this world, of this United States, to get into public office and turn this country back into the science leader that it originally was.
Thank you. We have the chance. We still can do this.
Between World War II and the latter part of the Kennedy fucking time in the presidency, we got people from bombing the shit out of Nagasaki and Hiroshima to the moon and back. Why the fuck in the last 50 fucking years have we not been able to make this kind of fucking jump? And it's because religious shit is keeping us back.
No, because having faith is still a value in this country. And let's be honest, nobody has faith about anybody else's faith. So let's stop pretending that's a value of this country.
Let's stop pretending that your Christian values don't equal the Muslim values, that don't equal the Jerusalem values, that don't equal fucking atheist values. Let's start living by fucking facts and logic.
Let's all find objective truths we can agree on, and then we can start debating the deeper issues.
Indeed. So, with that, we're going to move into our features for the week. And I think for me this week, I'm going to go with highs and lows. And mainly the lows I want to talk about, and I teased this earlier, is that in America, when you find something at a store that has a fucking price tag attached to it, and Kyle knows where I'm going with this one, and you find it in the store with a price tag attached to it, and you take it to a register, they ring it up, and they said, no, you can't actually buy this right now. Motherfucker, what? I live in America. You have a price tag attached to this item which I wish to buy. And you're telling me right now that I cannot purchase this item.
Yeah, the problem is there, you forgot to check your privilege at the door.
No, I'm really confused.
It has nothing to do with white Christian privilege or anything like that. I will let everybody know really quick. I am a geek first and foremost. I've done geek podcasts. I've done geek websites for the last 7 fucking years. I've only in the last couple of years decided to get into the secular world, the atheist world, and everything. So I was at Walmart this weekend in the middle of fucking Syracuse, Utah, which is ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Right, yeah, true.
And in just one little rack section of the men's clothing they had there, they had Star Wars t-shirts that I wanted to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking t-shirts that cost $8 each. So it's not like it's a lot of fucking money. I'm not the Macklemore crowd where I'm going to spend $50 on a t-shirt. I will spend $8.
I think Macklemore spent $2.
I mean, yeah, he's against anti-consumerism.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I believe that was 99 cents.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly. But they had t-shirts for the new Star Wars movie coming out in December. Out for display, with Darth Revan, or not Revan, what the fuck is his name?
And they said you couldn't buy it?
Kylo Ren, and I was going to pick up the t-shirt that had the BB-8 astromech droid on it. So fucking nerdy. I know. I realize this, people.
That's fine.
I know I'm a nerd.
I was going to pick it up. I had it in the cart, and I go to the register. You're fine and well ringing up my yogurt, my chicken strips that I have going through here, my seaweed snack packs that I have going through. But all of a sudden, my t-shirt rings up, and it's like, oh, we can't sell this to you.
What?
Bitch!
They can't sell you a t-shirt?
It has a price tag on it. $8.44 fucking cents.
Yeah, no.
And it was in the middle of the goddamn store. It's not like I found it in the fucking warehouse in the back section of the store. I found it in the real, literal, main aisle of the store. Before, like you could throw a stone from the checkout section to where the t-shirts were.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there. And I'm like, yeah, I want this t-shirt. Yeah, it's sexy. It's great. I love it. It's not going to get me laid any more than I think it would, but you know what? It's a t-shirt that I want.
I do that.
For $8. And I'm like, yes, I want this. Sorry, we can't sell this to you. And I'm like, can I go back to the other section and find maybe an older version?
Why couldn't they sell it to you?
Because some dumbass made the mistake of stocking it out on the floor before it was available for purchase.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have been stocking it that early in advance.
Exactly. If it's out there on the floor, I should be able to buy
Agreed.
it. That's my opinion as an American.
No, as somebody who works in retail, there's no, you can't buy this.
Yeah, and so I kept saying, like, look, what if I went and just got a price tag for the same amount of money and just let me buy this?
Okay, that's not entirely true, because I do have a giant sodium chloride rock in my salt display. And people, it's seriously just a giant sodium chloride rock.
I think I ate one of those as a kid.
No, you did not.
I used to put those out for deer.
Because going through a German salt mine as a kid, they gave you samples.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of them was like an actual
you
salt.
could totally eat this. You totally could.
Oh, exactly. And so this was like a 1-inch cube of salt.
Oh, yeah, this is like 20 pounds of salt?
I bet you I could.
Was it Lot's wife? I'm pretty sure it had to have been Lot's wife.
I'm going to start calling it that. I'm going to look up her name. I can't remember it now, but I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to say, no, she's not for sale.
I don't think she had a name. She was just Lot's wife.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah, no,
Bring those angels out so we may know them.
So, yeah. But people ask.
So anyway, okay, I realized that my low for this week is a giant fucking privileged white American kind of thing to go for, but you know what? Don't have something out on the shelves that I could throw into my shopping cart and take to the register where you're telling me I can't buy it.
Yeah, that's a dumb thing to do.
I want to be like, okay, that's fine. I'll come back later tonight and put it at the bottom of my shopping cart. Well, you won't notice when I take it out of the store and take it home with me.
Trust me, they're not paying attention.
Honestly, they're not. I mean, it's Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not that big of a deal.
Well, see, that's what you get for not using the self-checkout.
I felt, no, even a self-checkout would catch it, she said. But I felt so fucking angry. I'm like, no, you don't tell me no. My money is just as good as anybody else's, fucker. I felt like I was being like, I don't know what maybe this is the first time I've been unprivileged as a white guy. Where it's like,
persecution!
No, you cannot buy this t-shirt.
It's just stupid. It's just stupid is what it is.
It really is, because ultimately I'll be able to buy it next week.
Really? Did they apologize up and down? Did they say, like, you know what, we're really sorry, we made a mistake?
No, because the lady at the checkout was like, yeah, this happens sometimes, sorry. I mean, that's about the most sorry that I got out of the whole thing.
You'll just have to get over it. I'm sorry, sir.
I had a customer return one ball of mozzarella, and I apologized up and down all over myself. Like, I am so sorry! It wasn't one I made. It wasn't one I made.
And for my highs this week, again, I'm going to make it liquor-based because I had another one of those amazing beers I talked about last week, and because I'm sufficiently drunk enough, I can't really say the name. Lagunitas sucks? Yeah, there you go. And that was another great beer, but I also found the Ninkasi stuff, as you heard last break. And on top of that, there's the... What the hell are they called? The Limeritas that you get from Bud Light. They're like 8%. They are not something to trifle with.
No, they'll knock you on your ass.
But they had the lemonade ones that I've been searching for all fucking summer. I finally found a 4-pack of them, so that's sadly my week evolves around, you know, it's Friday. What can I drink?
All right. I got a high and low.
Go for it.
The low was I got sick, and here's how I get sick. I'm like, Oh, my nose itches. I must be having allergies, which I've been having lately because it's the change of season.
The smoke and everything.
But yeah, with all that stuff. So I've been getting allergies. I'm like, ugh, just itchy. And then within 2 hours, I was like, oh, fuck me. Like, I'm fucking sick. And then I start drinking liquor to try and dull the pain. Yeah, it took 2 hours, and then I spent 3 days in a fucking haze trying to work. And yes, I work with food. No, it's not something that's transferable through food. Not everything is transferable through food. So, yes, I went to work sick. I washed my hands like you would not fucking believe. Like more than usual. Like I was like hyper aware of washing my hands. I was like, I'm like, I haven't washed my hands for a minute. I'll wash my hands.
Probably about as much as I did when I was visiting the children in the NICU.
Yeah, yep, about like that.
Up to the elbow.
Yeah, I'm like, I might have touched something. I'm gonna wash my hands. So my hands are dry as hell, and that's awful. But, but I was trying to work with the foggy brain, and that sucked. But I did get to go to the Planned Parenthood rally on Tuesday for my high, and that was amazing. It was really great to go out and support Planned Parenthood and what they do. You know, they've helped me out in the past with getting birth control.
Well, from which I heard, Atheists of Utah made a really fucking stellar show.
Yeah, you know what? We had a bunch of heathens out there. It was great. There was so many of us. Got to stand with them. I wore my board t-shirt with Sarah Clausen Kramer, who also serves on Restore Our Humanity board. She's amazing. I absolutely love Sarah. I got to go out there with her. We were both wearing our t-shirts, and we got to stand with a bunch of atheists, and we got to stand up for Planned Parenthood, and it really mattered. While I was there, Rena, friend of the show, as we know, she actually bought me a clutch purse that I mentioned on Facebook that I was looking for a new one. So she just bought me one that like matched all the things I wanted. And it's really cute. So I really appreciate that. Like I can carry all my shit in it, but it's not big and bulky. I love it. And you know, a bunch of guys out there are like, well, men just carry a wallet. I know. I hear your thoughts already. Women
Shut up.
Yeah, women's clothes don't account for that. So
yeah, women's jeans, as nice as they might fit you, they don't have pockets that work for the shit.
So shut the fuck up. I'm so glad that your wallet fits in your back pockets, but mine doesn't. And it doesn't have to be large, but also, sometimes I like to carry a tampon. Does your wallet do that? No? Then shut the fuck up. I need something.
Well, why not?
I need something that can hang around my wrist, and it's not intrusive, and it's not going to give me back pain because it's hanging on my shoulder, because I get upper back pain because that's my life. And so shut the fuck up. I need a little clutch thing. It's just a clutch wallet purse thing. It's amazing. Rena bought it for me. It was fantastic. And then after that, I went over to my fella's place, and there was a cat stuck in a tree. And I helped rescue the cat out of the tree. So.
Well, speaking of Rena real quick, she had turned down our invitation to become the next big member of the cast, but she will be back as a guest for relatively soon.
Good. I love her.
Yay. So, Dan, Kyle, what about you guys?
Oh, God. So I had to miss the rally. So that was a low point. And I had to miss it because I had to go see a movie.
I was going to say, what movie needed reviewing?
This was We Are Your Friends.
Go.
I can tell you pretty unequivocally that no, they were not my friends. There were a lot of things wrong with that movie. Not to mention just the abhorrent amount of objectifying of women in this movie.
Love it. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was surprised to hear Bill Frost give it a good review. Like, what the fuck, dude?
No, that's not to say there were good things about this movie. There definitely were. But the fact that you have a 90-minute movie with only a single speaking female role.
Well, that fails the Bechdel test.
Well,
definitely.
yeah. And this single female, her entire character, she just revolved around
the male characters.
the two male characters.
Chattel.
Yeah, and the fact that they only had the one speaking female role when there were probably just more females in this movie by a factor of 2 than men.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And the rest were all set decoration.
Won't it be great in the near future when we don't have to worry about quotas?
Yeah, and it's not even about quotas. It's just that the representation was just so far off.
When we realize that, the world is a diverse fucking place and we don't need to have nothing but straight white guys.
Yeah. It
Man.
It really annoyed me. Just watching this movie, it really annoyed me.
Males starring as leads, like...
If that's the way it's written, so be it. But at the same time, don't make your female characters one-dimensional.
Yeah, why include them at all if they're just going to be object? Can they be replaced with a sexy lamp? Then just don't even do it.
Probably.
I love lamp.
I'm sure they could have. I'm sure they could have had lots of, genderless mannequins filling those roles. But in defense of the movie, the female was not the only one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
All of them were one-dimensional. It was a really lackluster movie. So that was, yeah. It was a case of, well, I could be up at the rally or I could be here watching this movie.
That's not the Owen Wilson movie, is it?
No. The Owen Wilson movie is No Escape, which I did not get to go see. But Caitlin did. And she was very unimpressed with that movie as well.
Who I think we're going to have on, not this next week because Carrie Jackson is next, but I think we'll have her on next week. We keep rescheduling.
No.
Fucking Comcast.
That sucked. I was having trouble too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the technical nightmare show.
Yes, which if you listened to all of last week, bless you. So that leaves us with Dan to round out the rest of this episode with either your highs and lows, something you want to share with the audience, or a story of you being a stranger in a strange land, being a non-Mormon within the Utah perspective.
I've got a few of each. I would say
I will sit here and listen for hours.
Oh, thanks, man. I would say my lows over the past week were finding out that somebody who I had really wanted to respect and support was not living up to what I thought they should be. Lots and lots of work at work. We're going through an internal audit that has been a real pain in my ass.
Well, and you guys are close to fiscal end of the year as well, aren't you?
Yes. Although I did get a raise because my performance is really good, so that's good.
Hooray!
Also, losing our last episode of the Godless Rebelution was really, really disheartening because it was a great fucking episode, man. I had a really good time, and like I said, we coined fabulous new terms like Jesus HIV Christ and a couple others that were a lot of fun. I would say the high point has definitely been being asked to come on this episode of the Utah Outcast. Thank you very, very much, Chris.
Are you serious?
I appreciate it. That's awesome. I love you guys. Thank you very much. And also scheduling Dr. Darrell Ray to be on our next episode of the Godless Rebelution that we aired on Wednesday.
And honestly, if you're a fan of this show at all, you really should be listening to Godless Rebelution.
I know I do.
I think both of us pair quite well. I mean, we try not to tread over each other's news stories that we do. I mean, because they come out middle of the week, we come out beginning of the week. And so, I mean, if I hear them talk about something, I'm like, oh, shit, well, we need to strike that.
No, you shouldn't. I would love to get your guys' perspective on things too, man.
But the thing, I mean, we will talk about things most of the point, but at the same time, it's like, well, they, like with you guys fucking killing it with the Republican debates that happened.
Well, I'm hoping that you'll be able to join us for the next one.
Yeah, that's the hope.
I think, and I don't want to get anybody's hopes up here, but we've talked to Jeff Bell, I've talked to Dan, and I've talked with everybody else here, that the next time there is a Republican debate, I think in mid-September or so.
Yeah,
that
it's on September 16th the next September 16th is the next Republican primary debate.
I don't know how we would do it, but we would have a venue where all of us get together, listeners as well. You might be asked to pay a small coverage fee just to either benefit Atheists of Utah or Forrest Shaw, what have you. But, be able to join us at some venue like at Broovies and, have us talk about this kind of thing. Live and in person, I don't know how we would split it up audio-wise, but...
Fucking post it out on all 3 feeds, man. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But obviously, have all of us give our opinions on this kind of shit. And, there's obviously people out there that want to hear what we have to say. There's people listening to Godless Rebelution that want to have to say. There's left show people that want to hear what we have to say. And it would be entertaining as all fuck. Mm-hmm. Because, honestly, your guys' coverage of the Republican debate, I listened to those 2 hours and I giggled to myself the whole fucking time.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. We had a really good time, and we're looking forward to more episodes of the Godless Interruption as we cover the debates going forward.
Well, and I know you really entertained yourself because you got...
I got a little bit drunk.
A little bit.
Yeah, I have to ask you, Dan. Is your liver okay after that?
It was a slow recovery, but I think I'm doing all right now. Yeah.
Wow.
It'll make do.
Well, I really don't watch what I drink. I mean, I do a bit because I don't feel like having sick. But when we're recording, I'm like, fuck it, it's my Friday night because I work retail and I have weird hours. So yeah, I can't judge anyone too hard for recording and getting drunk because I'm like, fuck it.
Oh my god! By the end of the actual, so there was the kids table debate, and then there was the main event. And by the end of the main event, I don't really remember the last half hour, 45 minutes of the debate because I was that fucking drunk. And so I had to go back and listen to the episode again to make sure I didn't make a giant fucking ass of myself.
Not completely. No, you're fine.
No, we just laughed because out of nowhere, we got this solid brick of love
well,
from you about the show.
I love you guys.
Aw. It was just like, aw, that's us. It doesn't make any sense, but we'll take it.
Total non sequitur, but okay, we'll take it. That's great.
Blueberries.
Well, then you were like, no, that guy says kill.
Fuck that guy.
That guy says kill all gay people, and he's just saying fuck him. And Matt's like, I don't think that's what he said. And Matt was right.
Yeah, Matt was totally right. I'm sure of it.
Yes.
Well, and Matt's one of those guys that will hold on to the point for the next 5 episodes. He will bring it up.
It's nice. It was a good time, and it made listening to that crap bearable. And Trump was not infuriating, but hilarious. So
well, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. We've received nothing but positive feedback so far. So I think it was a lot of fun.
Since our listenership is still fairly low, I can get away with putting real audio on the show. What do you want to send us out with this week? Because I've got you coming in with a Perfect Circle Judith. What do you want to send us out with for this episode?
Oh, God. Now you're putting me on the spot and I have no fucking idea, man. What I want to send us out on this episode for... Shit.
Tim Minchin!
Yeah, Tim Minchin is always good. Fuck, man. You put me on the spot.
I love boobs, though.
You know what? I set that as a ringtone for my dad. Whenever my dad calls, it just cuts into that portion of Tim Minchin song where it's just like, fuck, I love boobs, though.
So you know what? Thankfully, listener, you will be able to leave us this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for Dan for coming out for this episode. Thanks for hanging out this whole time because I know, fuck, you got to be up soon for work.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But we have to do the show on Sundays because that's just the most unholy day that we can do this on.
Well, that's like the only time it really works for everyone consistently.
It's my favorite day to mow the lawn because then everybody in the neighborhood knows that I'm not LDS.
Oh man, everybody gets. I live north of Syracuse, so everybody looks at me funny as shit. My kids, and this is a total non sequitur here, but my kids were hanging out earlier when I was trying to clean out the garage. They were playing out in front of the house, and they go over to the neighbor's house, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come play?" They're like, "Sorry, we can't. It's Sunday." And my kids came up to me saying, "Dad, they said they can't play on Sunday." "Yeah, we've told you that already." "Well, why not?" "Well, because they have religion."
Because they believe in stupid shit.
Well, what's a religion? I'm like, and I don't want to be the asshole atheist dad that's like, it's a bunch of dumb beliefs that I try to couch it in a way that lets them still make their own decision on it. Where I'm like, it's a series of beliefs that people have on how to run their lives based on ancient texts and beliefs.
That's so subjective, though, right? Like, I have no problem being the quote-unquote asshole atheist dad when I tell my kids, well, they believe in some stupid shit that people wrote down fucking when people were out there herding goats and shit and barely discovering metallurgy. So if you want to think that whatever they believe is fine, then go ahead. But I think it's bullshit, and here's why.
I will tell my kids for the most part that kind of thing, like, oh, do you believe in God? Oh, yeah, I believe in God. Why?
Yeah.
Or the whole I don't believe in that kind of stuff, and this is the reason why. But at the same time, I have a wife that's not quite atheist.
Yeah, if I ever have kids, it's gonna be like because they believe in myths. I don't have to call it bullshit. I don't have to, just because I do want them to make their own decisions on it, but it is, for all intents and purposes, mythology. So that's not misleading in any way, shape, or form.
The only part that makes a problem with this whole thing is that I'm not one of those atheist parents that says that Santa Claus is a fake thing or Tooth Fairy is not real or anything, because you got to have fun with kids. Fuck, that's half the reason of having them.
Oh, I love to fuck with my kids when they were young.
So you get to have fun with them when they're of
freezing, Dan.
before double-digit ages, when they they realize that you've been lying to them this whole time.
I have no opinion on the Santa Claus thing. None.
But
it's
there
a good
are
example, really.
Yeah.
And as soon as my kids come to the realization that Santa Claus isn't real, be like, okay, well, let's just stretch that out a little bit further.
Yeah.
Your Jesus Christ isn't real because of X, Y, and Z. Same reason.
Actually, that's how I figured out Santa Claus wasn't real, was through critical thinking.
Yeah.
It really was. And I just turned to my mom, I go, you and Dad are Santa Claus, aren't you? And she goes,
yeah.
Yeah. And I go,
I caught my parents putting presents out. So
no,
like,
I
motherfuckers.
I didn't catch them. I figured it the fuck out.
Most kids, I think, do.
Yeah, you just sit down and think about it one day, and you're like, okay.
And we're getting dangerously close to my closing act of stand-up comedy. So Kyle just giggles. I fucking love you for that. But anyway, thank you for listening to the Utah Outcasts for this week. We will catch you again next week. Thanks to Dan for coming out. Fuck, it's been great having you on the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
And we have Ryan Duffy coming up in a couple of weeks. We have Carrie Jackson next week. God, it's going to be
I can't believe that.
It's going to be a great fucking couple of weeks for you if you're a fan of the show, because, we are trying to get the Utah people first and foremost into this whole conversation, because either they are believers, they're not believers, but you know what? They are outcasts in their own regard because they don't follow the fucking status quo.
Right.
But anyway, thanks for listening. Come check us out, Facebook.com/Utah Outcasts, Twitter @Utah Outcasts, 347-669-3377, or 347 now derp. Or, most people will get in touch with us through the contact page on the Podhell website, podhell.com/contact-us. Or you can send us an email through uo@podhell.com. This is all off the cuff, sorry. Anyway, come check us out. Thanks for listening to the episode of this week. But you know what? We're going to send you off with a great 10 Mention song. I haven't figured out which one yet because the dude is a fucking
He
genius.
really is. He's actually one of my heroes.
But anyway, we'll catch you next week with another episode. And until then, have a great week, and we'll see you then.
Bonne nuit.
Did you hear half of us yelling "Bye, Felicia"?
Yeah, I ignore it.
Okay.
I straight up fucking ignore that shit. Man.
I was like, don't do it.
Not funny.
Don't do it. And I'm like, no, I have to. And Landon laughed his ass off.
Bye, Felicia.
There she goes. There she goes. Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
You guys are so fucking funny.